Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be talking all about this upcoming Virgo season. Yes, I cannot believe we are approaching Virgo season already. Virgo season 2024, everyone. Now, before we do dive in, please make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you are interested in booking a reading with me, then you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find all of my astrology products over there. And as always, I want to say thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon for all of your support. Okay, so here we have a pretty action-packed Virgo season, right? There's a big list of important dates. Hi, Danielle. Welcome to you. How are you doing? Are you having a lovely Sunday? I hope you are. Nice to see you. So yes, we do. We have a lot of important dates coming up. Of course, the sun enters Virgo on the 22nd of August. We have a few different asteroid shifts happening as well. I mean, Vesta entering Virgo. We've got Ceres direct. We have Pallas entering Sagittarius. Of course, we had a Pallas retrograde. Yes, and Ceres was also retrograde for a period of time in Capricorn. And then also look here that Mercury will be turning direct on the 28th of August. Then we have Uranus and Pluto on the move. So Uranus is joining the retrograde party the same day that Pluto retrograde enters Capricorn. So we're going to touch on those events. Plus, we have Venus entering Libra. Do remember that both Juno and Lilith are in Libra at the moment, so Venus will be making significant conjunctions with those. And naturally, then we also have Mercury re-entering Virgo on the 9th of September. Mercury leaves its post-shadow period on the 11th of September. And then we're also coming up to another eclipse season as the lunar eclipse in Pisces happens on the 17th of September, sort of coming toward the end of Virgo season. And naturally, we do also have the new moon in Virgo on the 2nd of September. And just lastly there, Mars is on the move. So Mars is going to be entering Cancer on the 4th of September. Now, I do want to say that we are gearing up for a retrograde of Mars, right? So there will be the retrograde of Mars in both signs Leo and Cancer. But what I will say here is that throughout Virgo season, Mars is not going to be in the retrograde zone. All right. So we do get to experience some directness of Mars in Cancer. So I just wanted to let you know a few events. Hello, Awake in the Dream School. Hi, welcome to you. So glad you can be here. Oh, you're working today, Danielle. Well, you know what? I hope you have a great shift. I hope it goes well for you. Yes, good luck at work today. And of course, you can always catch up on your horoscopes later on. Okay, Virgo season. I like to start off by just touching on the season itself because what we want to think about is following the sun. That's really what astrology, well, Western astrology, that's what we do. We really look at the signs based on seasons. So Virgo season is from the 22nd of August until the 22nd of September. Naturally with that, right, from the 22nd of September, we will welcome the autumn equinox for those of us up north, spring equinox for those of us down south. But we go from stepping into the spotlight, right, with Leo season. We're still in this at the minute. We've got a few days left, but from stepping into the spotlight to being of service and really helping others. Yes, being service oriented, as Virgo likes to do. We also go from being quite loud, fierce, and confident, and I would even say somewhat dramatic, to being quite humble, modest, witty. Indeed. And then we also see here that we go from shining a light on our creativity and play and forms of enjoyment, all of these types of things that Leo season really shows us, getting in touch with our inner child, etc. So we go from all of these things to our health and our well-being, right? Really sinking into the body, making sure that we're taking care of our body. So, so vital, so important. So what I've done there is I've just listed a few aspects that the sun will be making throughout Virgo season this year. I'm not going to spend too long on that. It's just to really give you that information. Of course, we've got Sun trine Ceres, so that I feel can be quite a significant one because the sun will be in Virgo and then Ceres is in Capricorn. And, some astrologers do tend to link Ceres with Virgo, the archetype of Virgo. So a lot of healing there, mending. I would say that food and nutrition is a big significant part of that particular aspect. And we also see that the sun will oppose Saturn retrograde. There will be squares to Jupiter, trines to Uranus retrograde, the opposition to Neptune retrograde, and then a trine to Pluto retrograde. So as you can see, the sun will be making significant aspects to those generational planets. And we are really in the heart of retrograde season right now. So I feel as if, the sun in Virgo this year will have a thing or two to say about cleaning up our act, cleaning up our act when it comes to those necessary reassessments and reviews with respect to things like ambition, success, change, innovation, our spirituality, going within, our transformations, our renewals, all of these types of things. And naturally, with the sun square Jupiter, there is an element of, I would say, trying not to bite off more than we can chew. Okay, just being mindful of how much we're adding to our plates. Naturally, with that being said, we're already experiencing, we have been experiencing this energy quite a bit lately, considering we've got, T-squares between Pisces, Virgo, and Gemini. Yes, be careful not to overdo it. But I think, Sun in Virgo sort of says, make things manageable. Yeah, that's a big word, I think, for Virgo. Make it manageable. And efficiency. Efficiency. If there's one thing that Virgo is great at doing, it's making things efficient. Why would you want to waste your time? It's really about, okay, how can you put those practical steps in place, those practical things in place to make your life work all that bit better? Just those small improvements, right? Okay, retrograde movements. We're on the move here, folks. Ceres direct in Capricorn from the 26th of August. So we start Virgo season, and then just a few days after, Ceres is direct in Capricorn. So really moving forward with things like achievement, accomplishment, purpose. A change of direction may be on the horizon for some of us, right? After that solid review with respect to things like success, our mission, and our reputation, what we want out of life, these types of qualities that are mountain of success, I suppose you could say, with Capricorn. And then I would also say with this, Mercury direct in Leo, so that will be from the 28th of August. So let me just check what day that will be. Yeah, so the 28th of August is on a Wednesday. Yeah, we start Virgo season on a Thursday, and then just a few days later on the Wednesday, on the 28th, Mercury will turn direct. That will actually be Mercury Day. So that's an interesting one. Of course, Mercury being in Leo, a good time to then sort of mull over the past few weeks. Of course, we're still in this retrograde motion in Leo. So many of us are taking a closer look at things like, well, what are our passions? What really gets you going? What makes you feel good? Our creativity is a big part of this story as well. Our individuality is showing up quite strongly here, and our self-assurance. So with Mercury direct on the 28th, or from the 28th, we can move forward with the lessons that have been coming up over the past couple of weeks. Now, Uranus retrograde then in Taurus will begin from the 1st of September, and that will be until The 30th of January 2025. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go into every single step from the 1st of September until the 30th of January, but just overall, I would say, especially with the sun making a significant aspect to Uranus retrograde during Virgo season, maybe this is where we can embrace and welcome opportunity, an opportunity to reorganize a few financial and practical matters. Okay, taking a closer look at our schedules, our routines, our daily habits could be significant shifts coming up for many people. And you know what? We're also going to notice this with the full moon in Aquarius happening tomorrow. So that will be on the 19th of August too. So there will be more to that story. The reason why I say this is because Uranus is a part of this full moon with the T-square happening. Yes, so Pluto, right, here's a big event, I think. A pretty significant event is the Pluto retrograde entering Capricorn. The reason I feel that it's significant is because this is the last chance we have. This is the last opportunity we have to really work with this energy of Capricorn, or sorry, of Pluto being in Capricorn. Naturally, Pluto will be in Capricorn at 29 degrees. That will be the degree that it reaches, and then that's it. So the 29 degree is a very critical degree. So there could be this sense of urgency, apprehension. It could be a whole thing of you're ready and willing to let something go within your Capricorn house and to really welcome the new. I guess you could say with Pluto being in Aquarius, there have been many sneak peeks, previews to do with what the next 20 years has in store for us. But Pluto retrograde in Capricorn sort of says, okay, well, we're still going to revisit the foundations. Maybe there's something you have missed before, there's something you overlooked before. So take a step back, review the foundations, the structures of your life, your accomplishments, how disciplined you can be. Even integrity, I feel, is a big part of this. Your sense of integrity, your sense of self-respect. And of course, with Capricorn, a lot of it is about our inner authority. So Pluto could very well come along and shake a few things up for us throughout Virgo season. But of course, I just want to mention that this Pluto retrograde motion will be from the 1st of September until the 11th of October. So there's still like a month or so of this energy to work with. And then we'll talk more about this, I'm sure, throughout Libra season. But Pluto will then station direct in Capricorn from the 11th of October. Okay, so this is just a list of significant major aspects, so just to kind of break it down week by week. This is just something I put out there, so maybe you can look into this more yourself. You don't have to really do much of the work. You can just maybe even look up what these aspects may mean. And as well, of course, if you're someone who's quite into astrology and you know a thing or two, maybe you can piece some information together. But yes, these are just lists. And I do also break things down on a much more everyday level through daily forecasts over on Patreon. I make things practical. I like to make things as practical as possible. So yes, we've got these weeks and then coming into the other weeks there. So you can maybe screenshot those, maybe just look them up for yourself, and hopefully you can find those major aspects to be useful in some way for you, week by week. All right, so let's just get into it. I like to, before I would have broken things down, and that would have taken quite a bit of time, but I recognize that, you're mostly here for your horoscopes. I get that. People tend to skip the first part and they're like, just give me my sign, Hannah. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to just get into your sign for Virgo season. Let's see what happens, eh? Okay. Aries. Doing my timestamps at the same time. Shout out to Pernell Bobby. I remember doing a live with Purnell, and this is what he did. And I was like, that is a genius idea. Right. Whew. Aries, right? Let's go with you to begin with. Okay. First thing I want to say here, Aries, is, which by the way, there will be a separate video for the new moon and the lunar eclipse. That's how I do it here. I do a seasonal video, and then I do a new moon video and a full moon video. So there will be a new moon that will take place in your 6th house throughout Virgo season. Now, notice here that there are a few planets that will pass through your 6th house throughout the season. So overall themes, right? A lot to do with your daily habits, your routines, your work, your workload, your stress levels, your productivity levels. These things become quite significant. But the new moon will welcome and invite an opportunity to plant new seeds. Plant new seeds when it comes to these very areas, all right? And then also see here that a lunar eclipse is going to happen in your 12th house. So eclipse season is just around the corner, everyone. And that lunar eclipse then is going to feel like a significant shift. I think your spiritual priorities are really, really changing, Aries. I think that this lunar eclipse is going to activate something deeper within you, something like a call that you just you can't reject it. You can't dismiss it. So yes, I feel as if a stronger force, maybe something higher than yourself, bigger than yourself, is going to be pulling you, and you just can't deny your intuition. Yes, the intuition is going to speak very, very loudly with the lunar eclipse in your 12th house in Pisces. So there's just that I want to mention. But overall, right, Virgo season for you is so much about, okay, shining a light on your priorities. It is time to lay out what is a priority in your life. Think about efficiency. Think about just overall your day-to-day, your daily habits. How do you show up on a daily basis? And I would also say, how do you show up when it comes to either the services you provide or the services that are provided to you? There could even be a lot to do with coworker relationships and employees, employers, maybe even here, Aries, putting your best foot forward, as a way to maybe impress, as a way to really show up as a worker, right? As someone who has good work ethic, especially because Venus is still going to be spending time in your 6th house for I would say, let me just double check my dates. So, yeah, for the first week of Virgo season, Venus will still be hanging out in your 6th house. So yes, there could be something about your earnings, your money, right, that highlights a change in your work priorities. Maybe this is about a promotion. Maybe this is about a job opportunity that just feels good, right? It feels like it's calling to you. This could be a service that you offer that's really just calling your name. Okay, so let's now consider here Mercury direct. So Mercury is going to turn direct on the 28th of August, and that will be in your 5th house. So beginning Virgo season and up until the 28th of August, there's still some reflection, contemplation to do with things like children, your hobbies, your creativity, your forms of enjoyment, your forms of entertainment. And then by the time Mercury does turn direct on the 28th of August, you can then start to really move forward with more perspective, right? Mercury retrograde is just about perspective. Try to think of it like that, gaining a whole newfound sort of perspective, or taking a closer look at old sort of thought patterns and habits there. And then, of course, you can move forward based on the information that came through. And then the thing is that by the 9th of September, Mercury will re-enter Virgo in your 6th house. And by the 11th of September, Mercury will be out of the post-shadow period. So from, I would say, the 9th, 11th of September, around that time period, Aries, this is a good opportunity for you to really move forward with those practical daily plans, to move forward with, a habit that perhaps you did revisit, a habit that you want to break, a habit that's no longer serving you, or maybe a habit that you wish to take on, and because you feel like that is the healthiest thing for you. Also, just moving forward then when it comes to matters related to your body, right? Yes, and health overall, Aries. Now, from the 29th of August, then Venus will enter Libra in your 7th house. And we're going to see here the first week of September that Venus will make conjunctions with Lilith and Juno, and there will be a trine to Pluto retrograde. So I would say, with Lilith and Pluto sort of a part of this, and then Juno, this asteroid of marriage and connection as well. Venus, of course, is the planet of love and relationships, but the kind of blend of these bodies, I feel it's hot, it's steamy, it's sensual, it's sexy, so there could be something coming through here, especially with Venus coming into the 7th, where you may transform perhaps on a sexual level, on an intimate level within your relationships. You may feel a stronger connection maybe with certain lovers or partners naturally. With the same token, this could be more of a conflict. This could be more of a resistance, because the 7th can be about connection and attraction, but it can also be about others becoming a foe, others sort of feeling like they're the enemy to us. But maybe this is where a little bit of self-reflection and inner work can come into play, right? A bit of the shadow work with the 7th house. So maybe a part of the shadow for you, Aries, throughout Virgo season, especially the first week of September, is going to show up as, okay, where am I maybe not compromising so much? You can be like this at times, Aries, right? You're very quick to go, no, I'm going to do it on my own. Don't need any help. Don't need anybody. Nuh-uh. Right? So maybe a little bit of compromise, or maybe a better way to reword that is collaboration. Collaborate. And here, an even better word, sharing, Aries, to share of yourself and to allow others to share with you. This can be great. This can be great for your relationship, Aries. Right, let's now switch it to the 1st of September. Uranus retrograde begins in your 2nd house. So with Uranus retrograde beginning in your 2nd house, really a good time to have a good, honest review of your budgets, your spending, do all the calculations. Even when it comes to the money that you earn, right? Look at your earnings as well, and just get a sense for, okay, what is working? What is useful here? What can be applied in a practical way? And naturally, with that being said, because Uranus is involved, there could be some unpredictability. And perhaps as well, because Aquarius rules your 11th, this unpredictability could be related to that of teams, organizations, causes, movements, things like this, friendships as well. Now, with Pluto retrograde entering Capricorn in your 10th house, well, Aries, here we go. You have an opportunity. You have one final shot. Well, yeah, I'm going to say one final shot, because Pluto will not be in Capricorn for a couple of centuries. So, yes, one final shot of really addressing the career stuff, right? Here, Aries, you're the types of people, I'm just going to say this, you go for management positions, right? You are leaders, you're go-getters, you're doers, you're fighters, you're warriors. You're so much about, okay, I want the management role. I want to be able to even just gain respect from others and to show that respect. And when I say manage your role, you're also the types of people who jump in with others. You don't just sit back and watch everybody else, you actually get involved. So yes, this could be about career progression. This could be about a career renewal. And maybe I'm just going to say this: Pluto in your 11th house over these past few months have helped you gain perspective about such matters. Yes, yes. Okay, now I want to think about your chart ruler, Mars. Mars is still hanging out in Gemini until the 4th of September. So, for the first couple of weeks of Virgo season, your chart ruler, Mars, in Gemini is still highlighting, okay, your goals, your motivations, your drive, your willpower, these things are being directed towards that of speaking. Even just, I would say this, with Jupiter and the conjunction with Mars, I feel like Aries, you're finding your unique selling point. You're finding your way of communicating strongly, right? From a place of actually, yes, I can do this. I have what it takes here. Yes, very positive communication coming through. And maybe this is also about having a positive mindset, looking at things through a place or through a lens of opportunity. So you're still going to work with some of this energy with Mars there in the third. Challenges are also likely, but maybe this is about speaking up for what you want. What's that whole saying? If you don't ask, you don't get. So, yes. Now, as Mars does enter your 4th house from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, well, this is going to invite more of this go-getter, this fighting spirit energy within your home, within your family. Your goals, I feel, are really going to be geared toward that of family and home. And I'm just going to say this: my moon is in Aries. And I always say to read for sun, moon, and rising for different purposes. For example, I have a night chart. So with my night chart, the moon is it resonates strongly for me, just personally. So just see what works for you always. But the reason why I bring this up is because I'm relating to this so strongly right now. As I speak about this, I'm like, oh, I can see this. So, yes, your goals are going to be geared towards that of family and home. And naturally, with that being said, Mars in the 4th in Cancer, there could be something to be said about arguments, disagreements. But maybe you know more than most that through arguments and disagreements, we can still come to a place of reconcile. We can still come to a place of understanding. We can come through that, come out at the other side of an argument, and then we can go, right, okay, well, we've talked about it and now we can move forward with it. So that, I feel, can be quite useful perhaps with family members as Mars enters Cancer. Yeah, and of course, just remember that there will be a part of the Mars retrograde towards the end of the year that will happen in the 4th. So let me just say this. There's more to the story. Okay, I'm going to move on to Taurus now. Honestly, everyone, I was going to break things down more so on a week-by-week basis, using aspects. But now, what has it been? 15. It's now been 10 minutes. So we need to get through everybody. So I'm going to break it down in the ways that I've said. Do remember there will be aspects, so there's more nuance to what is being said today, but I'm just trying to go in at the major aspects. Okay. Major shifts. Okay, Taurus. Where are we? Taurus. Oh. All right, so Taurus, folks, what does Virgo season have in store for you? Well, let's touch quickly on the new moon and the lunar eclipse happening in your 5th and 11th houses. So we have a new moon happening in your 5th house throughout Virgo season. And let's just think of it from a bigger picture perspective with these celestial bodies moving through your 5th house in Virgo. A lot of themes here to do with things like enjoyment, pleasure, fun, play, right? What lights you up? And I'm like, Taurus, the most mundane, simple things can just bring you happiness. I really think about Taurus just loving a good blanket, a good cozy blanket. That is so, it's so simple. It's so simple, but yet it's so enjoyable for you. So I feel like these themes have really been coming up, and maybe it's about, oh, well, what do you like? What has your interest? And maybe as well, romantically speaking, this is about the small, sweet, simple things, the wholeness of things that you can enjoy with your lover, right? And thinking even about how you show up in practical ways within your romantic relationships to make your romantic partner's lives easier, that little bit easier, and the services that you provide, if you will, the help that you provide. So this new moon, I feel, is going to indicate setting new intentions here. Okay, setting new intentions, planting new seeds when it comes to these very themes. Now, we also then have this lunar eclipse on the 11th. And so the lunar eclipse on the 17th of September, that's going to speak to, establishing healthy boundaries, appreciating healthy limitations when it comes to things like wider audiences, the collective, group involvements, how you participate within the group. And then also, let's think about how this will be a lunar eclipse. So that's going to be really quite strong and powerful. So there could be significant chapters that are closing. Things are being finalized, even, when it comes to those group involvements of yours and friendships as well. So thinking about how you may be pulled intuitively, right, on an intuitive level when it comes to these areas. Yes, so there will be a separate video about the new moon and the lunar eclipse. But let's just think about Virgo season in general. I mean, yes, Virgo season for you is about this big light being shined on that of your forms of enjoyment, just things that you love. Even I think about how many Taurus can be great with your hands. You can be quite artistic, you can be very creative. So maybe on that note, crafts or art could be a big part of Virgo season for you. Or even just, being able to enjoy, just to enjoy the simple pleasures, as I was previously saying. And let's even put it this way. When you do create, Taurus, you make things practical. You're able to break things down in simplified ways, which I love about Taurus indeed. So the sun through your 5th house throughout Virgo season is going to highlight a lot of this stuff. Okay, Mercury direct. Let's think about it. So Mercury is still retrograde in your 4th house until the 28th of August. So for the first week of Virgo season, it's still about, okay, let's take a closer look at those family dynamics, at the past. Memories could come up quite vividly for many Taurus during this time. There could be memories about how you used to play, how you used to have fun as a child, and maybe you really want to reconnect with these parts of yourself. So that I feel can be quite healing for you. But then naturally we have here Mercury turning direct from the 28th of August. So time to just mull things over, and of course to move forward a bit there too, but to mull things over when it comes to the family stuff, when it comes to the ancestry stuff, your living situation. Maybe a big part of it is to do with just, your individuality within your family and where you really shine, where you feel the most secure there. So yes, moving forward with greater perspective, greater clarity, and then Mercury will re-enter. Mercury will re-enter your 5th house on the 9th of September, and then the post-shadow period will end from the 11th of September. So from around the 9th, 11th of September time, that will be a good opportunity for you to move forward with any significant romantic relationship conversations. These conversations could possibly be related to that of children. For example, how it is that you look after your children or any children that you wish to have. Or maybe this is about gaining greater perspective just in general when it comes to hobbies or the forms of enjoyment stuff that I was mentioning earlier. So yeah, hey, it could even be about being able to see more clearly, more vividly what is working there, right? How are things going? How do things sort of line up? Are all ducks are in a row, right? Okay, great. And then you go. So yeah, good opportunity to move forward then with these areas. Right. So let's also think about how Venus is hanging out still in your fifth house at the same time. Venus is your chart ruler, of course. So this will be up until the 29th of August. So we see here that for the first week of Virgo season, with Venus being in Virgo, hey, this Venus in the fifth house can be representative of just wanting to enjoy within your romantic relationships, wanting to be close, wanting to even spend time with friends and loved ones. Even think about how the fifth house is about love in general. It doesn't just have to be romantic relationships and dating and things like that. It's also about love overall. So, there could be just this sweetness to love. But hey, I guess you could also say Venus and Virgo is in it's in its fall. So yes, there could maybe be some nitpicking, some critical vibes happening, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That is not necessarily a bad thing. So, on that note, this could give you the opportunity just to clear a few things up, to make simple improvements along the way. Okay, so Venus then, again, your chart ruler, will enter your sixth house from the 29th of August. So for the rest of Virgo season there, um, I also think about how Lilith, Juno, Pluto retrograde are making these aspects and everything. So I would say here, I would actually suggest to be somewhat cautious there with these energies in the sixth. And just what I mean by this is to show some type of caution when it comes to coworker relationships or colleagues, how you interact with them, how you relate with them. Maybe this is a good opportunity for you to rise up or for you to transform in some way, shape, or form when it comes to those kinds of relationships, such as not tolerating certain behaviors, and being able to stand up for yourself, to stand up for truth and justice. So there could be these things that play out. It could even be some type of steamy, hot relationship that unfolds with a coworker. That's just another possibility. Or you know what? This could be more about you getting in touch with your body, Taurus. Right? Thinking about the sixth house through a lens of health and wellness, or taking on those classes, right? Those classes that really get you in tune with your body and how that can even help you sexually. Just going to say that. Yes. Self-care could also be a big priority for you, Taurus, there. Right. So we're going to talk about the retrogrades. It is an action-packed month, everybody. I could be here a while. It is an action-packed month. Okay. Uranus retrograde in your first house starting from the 1st of September. So throughout Virgo season, yes, the beginning of this retrograde says time to just have an honest review of things like your life path, your aims, your goals, your direction. Just where do you see yourself headed? And naturally with Uranus, there is that unpredictability, surprises. Things can be quite jarring, things can be quite shocking, but things can also be liberating and freeing for you. Time to really consider innovation. Innovation when it comes to your aims and your goals. Right. Now, what I also want to mention, Pluto retrograde will dip back into Capricorn for one last time from the 1st of September in your 9th. Okay. So anything that you might have overlooked, anything that you might have missed when it comes to things like advanced training, higher learning, courses, classes you offer, how you share information, how you broadcast it, you can then take another look. You have another opportunity to go in, to look at the foundations, to look at the structures. How are things built from the ground up? Okay. So that can be quite a useful thing for you, especially because, you're also an earth sign. You're all about the practical stuff. And then lastly, we have Mars. So Mars is on the move. Mars has been hanging out in your second house. Mars will still be in your second house until the 4th of September. So for the first couple of weeks of Virgo season, Mars in your second is so much about, okay, you're making those moves. You're making those money moves. And I would say working with a lot of money, possibly. I would say even expanding upon your skill set, expanding upon your even just working with your hands. Dextry, is that dextry? The word, sorry. The word has lost me. But it's basically where you work with your hands. That word for that. Yes, so that could be a pretty big focus for you. Possibly, there could be more about multiple streams of income, thinking about how you can switch things up, change of scenery when it comes to your work and your skills and your talents, etc. But then as Mars enters Cancer from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, well, this then is an opportunity maybe for you to put more of your energy in. So, of course, Mars is about our energy levels, our willpower. So more of these things into that of sibling relationships. Maybe this is kind of suggesting friction with siblings. Friction with siblings, friction with cousins, aunties and uncles and things like this. There could be quite a bit of drama happening there, but there is also an opportunity for you to think more about what you need emotionally. Maybe bring it back to the self and just think about, okay, how am I feeling emotionally within all of this? And how can you maybe take a bit of a step back a little bit, right? With Cancer, there's so much about retreating, but also just to be cautious of any sort of passive aggressive tendencies or manipulative tendencies there with Mars through the 3rd. But hey, on a positive note, this could be about focusing more on effective communication and trying not to be reactive, right? Trying not to be a reactive communicator and to instead reflect and to respond. There's more to this story as Mars retrograde happens at the end of the year, Taurus. Okay, Gemini. Dexterity. Thank you. Dexterity. Thank you so much to Awaken the Dream School and to Dr. Linda Joy. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I want to say hello to Alpha Mercurial. Hello, welcome. And of course, welcome to you, Dr. Linda. Thank you for being here. Oh, you're traveling overseas in September. Hey, there you go. The 9th house stuff. Also about travel. Very interesting. Awaken in the Dream School. Nice. Okay. And I hope you have a great trip. Okay, so Gemini. Gemini. Okay. So, what's happening for Gemini? Well, let's just get this out of the way. Some squares, right? We've got some challenging squares. Virgo season does tend to be a pretty squarey month for Gemini, but that's not a bad thing because through challenge we grow, right? Challenge is where growth is born. So let's break this down. I want to say firstly that there will be a new moon happening in your fourth, and these celestial bodies are passing through the fourth for you throughout Virgo season. So there is actually a lot going on within the home, Gemini, right? There are people calling, there are messages that need to be answered, there are contracts that may need to be signed, and there is refurbishment that's required, decorating the house, fixing, mending, just attending to all of those little home improvements, maybe doing some DIY work, Gemini. Okay, so yes, a lot is happening there. And quite honestly, I'm going to say, with your chart ruler being involved in this could be quite exciting, right? There could be that curiosity. It's like, oh, yes, I like that, right? You tend to be like this magpie. I like to call Gemini the magpie of the zodiac, because it's always the thing of, oh, this shiny, bright thing over here, and you're so curious about it and you want to learn more. So your chart ruler through the fourth, and even with the retrogrades, through your third and your fourth, I feel as if you are being called in many different directions when it comes to home stuff, family stuff. And there may be greater curiosity there when it comes to just how you can show up within your private lives there. Still, the new moon then in Virgo is about setting new intentions, planting new seeds to do with the family areas. And also, the lunar eclipse happening in Pisces in your 10th is going to be a good opportunity for you to gain greater clarity and insight about your position, about your role, about how you show up within society, how you show up with in front of the public there, thinking about your professional lives, just thinking about your reputation and your public image. These things are going to be quite significant. We are coming up to this eclipse season, and the eclipses then are going to start within your fourth and your 10th houses. So a lot of activity going on within the public space and the private space for you. But I would even just say here with the lunar eclipse in Pisces, it's more about a spiritual connection, and it's more about how you feel aligned on a deeper level with the professional stuff. So maybe there's a good bit of consideration happening there, a good time to really go within and to think about what is best for you. And maybe that's a big part of it. It really is about what's best for you, and hey, what's best for you and your family and your emotional well-being. So yes, now I pretty much already explained the sun in Virgo. Yes, we've described those themes previously, but the sun in Virgo is essentially shining a light on all of the home stuff that I just mentioned. So we'll just say that there to keep that short. Now, Mercury direct will happen. Now, Mercury is your chart ruler. Mercury direct happens from the 28th of August. So for the first week of Virgo season, we still have Mercury retrograde in your third. So you're still revisiting, reassessing sibling stuff, peer stuff, classmates, conversations. Maybe this is about waiting on a certain document. It's waiting on an email. So you may still be in this process of waiting to hear back from someone, right? And that someone could have information about children that you have, or about a creative project, form of enjoyment, right? A certain activity that you really want to do. So yes, you're still in this waiting process. And then by the 28th of August, there could be more of a clear view there, greater clarity, still mulling things over, of course. But as Mercury re-enters your fourth house from the 9th of September, and the post-shadow period ends on the 11th of September, this is when you're really going to get the juices flowing here at home. I think the home improvement stuff, or the desires, the curiosity, the question marks to do with home and family, these things, you're going to gain greater clarity. I think this is when you're going to have these moments of, oh, I can see what I can do now. And I'll also say Venus hanging out still in your 4th house for the first week of Virgo season. It's still about materials and products and items and finances being related in with the family stuff and the home stuff. I mean, Gemini, on a very simple level, this could just be about you saving for something, right? This could just be about, right, I want to save for, I don't know, a sofa or a barbecue or whatever for my home because I want to create a social atmosphere. I want my space to look like this. So yes, this is what I'm trying to say. It could just be something as simple as that. Or even with Mercury re-entering your 4th and with the retrograde and everything, and Mercury being your chart ruler, there could be even something about transportation or taking up a new hobby, some sort of hobby that involves movement, right? And that movement it's about biking or skateboarding or roller skating, just something fun. And the reason why I'm saying this is because my partner, Gemini Moon, recently took up biking. So I just feel like that fits in quite well with the whole Mercury thing. But anyway, that's just what I wanted to share quickly. But Venus then will enter Libra from the 29th of August. So for the rest of Virgo season, well, what do we have here? We have, of course, think about how Pluto, Lilith, and Juno are involved in this. We have here a situation on our hands that could be about a steamy love life, a hot, sexy love life, okay? This could be about awakening something deep within yourself to do with love and closeness and intimacy and relating. But let's take this a step away from the romantic stuff and just think about this in terms of friendship and the love that we share with others there in general, right? Because the 5th house is about love. Yes, this welcomes greater opportunity for healthy collaboration, healthy negotiation, just wanting to get along with other people. But naturally, because Lilith and Pluto are still a part of this, there's a within quality to this. There really is this thing of having a good, honest look at our own shadow. What do we bring to the party, and how can we hopefully, choose to do the right thing, I guess you could say. So yes, this could be a good opportunity for you to really blossom and grow within your relationships in order to establish a greater bond. But hey, you know what? At the same time, still, it's about recognizing that relationships do come to an end. Relationships come to an end, and that is okay. But I'll also say here, there could be a good opportunity for you to focus on your creativity, your hobbies, your passions, your interests with Venus through the 5th too. Right, so Uranus retrograde will happen from the 1st of September. So throughout Virgo season, okay, good time period to really go within, to consider what your spiritual priorities are, what your spiritual values are. That's a good one. Yeah, what do you value spiritually speaking? That could be a bit of a question for you, and maybe that can help you see how you can realign your priorities to maybe even look at this as such realizations helping you make better choices or healthier choices or just choices that make you feel happier. Yeah. Pluto then is on the move. Pluto is going to dip back in to your 8th house from the 1st of September until the 11th of October, which, by the way, Uranus retrograde is from the 1st of September until the 30th of January. But yes, with Pluto re-entering your 8th house, this is one final opportunity, Gemini, for you to take a closer look at emotional bonding. But because this is Capricorn, there could be some restrictions, there could be some limitations, but I reckon you've already outgrown older versions of yourself here. I think you've already looked at and you have addressed those emotional blockages in some capacity. Yes, but Pluto still may have something to say about management, right? Managing other people's resources, other people's money. Hey, this could be about some new career opportunity or professional opportunity that you once sort of just you put it on the shelf for a little while, like, oh, just not really think about that. But now with Pluto re-entering your eighth, it's time to bring it back down, and then you have a good look at it and you think, does this line up? Does this suit me? Is this what I want? And then maybe, quite possibly, you move with that. Okay. And then I also think profound realizations, just on a more general level, there, profound realizations to do with intimacy and closeness, diving deeper into the self, right? Maybe thinking about your own psychology, your psyche, what is still to be addressed there. Okay. And maybe a part of that is tied to your own inner authority. Lastly, let's think about Mars. So Mars is still hanging out in your sign until the 4th of September. So for the first couple of weeks of Virgo season, it's still about you know, doing your thing, going after things, doing so intellectually, doing so through your social skills. My goodness, Gemini, you can be amazing socially. So there may be greater activity happening there with Mars in your first, and maybe such matters are even linked to that of your aims and your ambitions. Your goals are a priority right now. Let's just say that. Your goals, your life path, what you want out of life is such a big priority. Then as Mars enters Cancer on the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, I think there will be a bit of a switch then to that of, okay, what about your finances? What about your resources, your materials? I mean, you're the types of people who I think you're security focused when it comes to these matters. You're very security driven, security focused. So with Mars there, this will provide you in a way with that greater drive, with that greater urgency, perhaps. But then again, you know, it could also be where it is about seeing where you react, and how reactive you might be on a more practical level there. And then I'll even just say, do remember that Mars has more to say, right? Because there will be a Mars retrograde that will happen more at the end of the year. So Mars has more to add to this story that I mentioned. But overall, I just think it is about protecting what is yours, protecting your resources. I feel that is going to be a big part of your story throughout Virgo season. Okay, Cancer. Cancer. I'm just reading through the comments quickly. Hello to Freddie Blue. Big welcome to you. Thanks for being here. Hello to Christine. Hi. Welcome. Okay, awesome. Nice. Okay, let's now think about Cancer. I might need to speed things along a little bit, everybody. Let's see. Cancer, right. So, Cancer. Let's think about the new moon and the lunar eclipse. There will be a new moon that will happen in your third house. So, you will be planting new seeds when it comes to communication, just in general, there. How you communicate as a person, how you think, how you process information there. So, planting new seeds, setting new intentions when it comes to these areas. And let's face it, Cancer, with Virgo in your third house, you do like to be quite, let's say, correcting. You like to make sure that things not only make sense, but also the facts are correct. You're major fact checkers, I think. And you will not let a piece of information that's not correct, you'll not let that go. I just wanted to say that. So yes, the new moon could highlight this. And then of course with those planets moving through your third house, there could be more of this bigger theme stuff to do with your local area, right? Your neighborhood that you live in, how you get from A to B, how you commute. These things may be really on your mind. And maybe as well, it's all about efficiency. It's all about productivity. It's all about making things work well and just to operate and function well for you in general, I think. Okay, now the lunar eclipse then will happen in your ninth. So this can invite significant shifts and changes to do with, well, your own sort of belief systems. So how you view the world. Yeah, your worldviews, your philosophies. A lot of this is to do with the spiritual too. Let's just say that, because Pisces is involved. Pisces is a part of it. It's going to be quite a powerful time. Now, naturally, there will be a separate video about the new moon and the lunar eclipse. Let's just mention, of course, that the moon is your chart ruler. So yes, the new moon and the lunar eclipse could be quite significant for you within this respect. Now, the sun in Virgo, what does Virgo season typically represent for you? Yes, shining a light on that of your education, how you learn, the research that you're doing, and maybe just building upon what you've already learned there and making little corrections, simplifying things, making small improvements to how you educate yourself. And maybe even this is about learning something new that's really interesting to you, and just those little things that you can do on a day-to-day basis to help you there. Now, Mercury direct will happen from the 28th of August. So for the first week of August, with Mercury still retrograde in your second house, you're still having a good, honest review of your finances, your resources, your materials, your spending habits, what you earn, these things, thinking about your hobbies and your projects and how they are related. And then with Mercury direct, good opportunity to move forward, of course, and to also at the same time mull things over, to just reflect a little bit more and think, okay, is this the kind of thing that I want to do? Is this aligned with what I really feel within myself there? Is it aligned with my own authenticity, I suppose you could say, with Leo involved? So yes, I feel as if this stuff that I talk about is related to your job, your resources, and your finances. And then from around the 9th, 11th of September, with Mercury being back in Virgo, then you can really start to move forward with the educational stuff, with the learning stuff, with possibly sibling matters. I mean, if it is, for example, that you've been waiting to hear back about a sibling situation, or you've been waiting to hear back about a neighborhood situation, thinking even about possibly relocating or moving there, perhaps that time period can welcome some type of clarity for you. And even thinking about the practical steps that you can put in place to help you along. Now, Venus, of course, has been hanging out in your third house. So for the first week of Virgo season, there is something to be said about, well, communicating in quite a delightful way, in a respectful way. But then again, I suppose with Venus being in its fall in Virgo, there, as I was saying earlier, yes, there can be nitpicking. Yes, there can be finding fault where there is none, this type of stuff, criticizing a little bit. But perhaps Venus can help soften things a little bit there. Maybe Venus can highlight your skills, right? Your writing skills or your communication skills, to make simple improvements and to actually enjoy the process of that, to really enjoy it, to find pleasure, to find pleasure from learning, to find pleasure in making corrections or improvements to your learning. Now, Venus then will enter Libra from the 29th of August. So for the rest of Virgo season, of course, with Pluto retrograde involved, Lilith and Juno involved, there could be a few matters to attend to within the home. And maybe such matters are about connecting or relating with your partner. It could be about greater collaboration with family members. Maybe it's about addressing the elephant in the room within your home, or perhaps it invites some kind of sexual connection, a really hot connection with your lover, with your partner. Or, hey, you know what? It could be about addressing the taboo, addressing matters that are difficult to talk about. It's having a look at the shadow, having a look at secrecy, deceit, what hasn't been said, what has been denied a little bit. So yes, and maybe a big part of this is having to look within yourself, Cancer. Yes, your relationships could very well transform, and this could be for better or for worse. Okay, so Uranus retrograde will happen from the 1st of September until the 30th of January. So happening in your 11th house. So a good honest review of things like your hopes, your wishes for the future. And I think for you, Cancer, you do seek a stable, steady, secure future. I think that is a big part of why you do the things that you do. So with Uranus hanging out in your 11th, I'm going to predict or assume that things have been a little bit chaotic, and that's okay. You know, the surprises and the shocks of Uranus are not bad. So maybe it's just with the retrograde motion, it's trying to maybe welcome some type of change, or having to take a closer look at changes and how you can maybe innovate a little bit so that you can overall gain that greater security that you seek. Then again, maybe for you, a big part of this is you realizing that the only real truth is that everything changes in life. Anyway, yes, there could be more bigger collective themes at play there for you. And then with Pluto retrograde re-entering Capricorn from the 1st of September until the 11th of October, one final opportunity, one final chance, Cancer, to have a look at your partnerships, your relationships, how you show up there. And it's quite significant when we think about even how, and this is something that I did want to mention for everybody, but it's just time. Honestly, it's just time. But it's significant because Venus and Libra will make a square to Pluto retrograde more toward the end of Virgo season. And that will be one final hit of that particular square for a couple of centuries, with Venus and Libra specifically to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So in your case, I mean, it could be about, with Pluto retrograde, more about the breakthroughs to do with long-term relationships, the longevity of your relationships. Thinking about commitment, integrity, respect, revisiting the structures and the foundations of your partnerships, right? Really having a closer look there. And maybe through such a process, you can come to terms with, well, how much you've already grown, maybe, right? How much you have actually matured greatly, Cancer, and still another chance to kind of see what other changes can be made there. Okay, so lastly, I want to say from the 4th of September, Mars will enter Cancer. So Mars is still hanging out in your 12th house, beginning of Virgo season, up until the 4th of September. So with that time period, well, I'm going to say, Cancer, that can feel a little bit unnerving. It can feel a bit like restlessness. It can feel quite tense, right? There may be tension just bubbling beneath the surface a little bit with Mars through the 12th in Gemini. And maybe a big part of it is to do with your own thoughts, right? How you think about things, how you process things. So yes, perhaps there is a part of this where it's important to realize that people are not mind readers, and it is important to communicate your needs, to communicate what you want, rather than, resenting people, or rather than not saying anything and being bitter. Yeah, so maybe a part of Mars entering Cancer, your sign, your sign from the 4th of September. And maybe a part of that is you're going to welcome, okay, yes, let's just, move through this. Let's try and show up in a more active way here. And then again, it is you, so you do have the tendency of being passive aggressive at times. So maybe just to be slightly cautious of that kind of behavior. But then again, maybe a part of it is that there are times when you need to be. There are times when you need to be because people test your patience, Cancer. Still, I think Mars in Cancer is going to welcome some willpower, a fighting spirit. Yeah, it's gonna welcome a part of you that says, right, okay, I'm gonna show up as the leader that I am. And maybe it is about making significant intuitive moves. Just be cautious, I feel though, Cancer, of making big life decisions just purely based on emotion. Try and let the emotional tides sort of just calm a little bit, the emotional waves calm somewhat. And then, okay, once you're in that and you feel a bit more steadier, then make your decisions that way, perhaps. Okay. Now, there will be more to this story with Mars retrograde at the end of the year. Okay, so Leo, where are we? Oh. Yes, Leo. Right. Let's talk about Virgo season for you. So we have a new moon happening in your second house and the eclipse happening in your eighth house this Virgo season. So the new moon in Virgo is going to highlight you setting new intentions, planting new seeds to do with your earning potential, to do with your skills, your talents. Your physical security is very significant here during Virgo season, right? So think about how the sun is shining its light on the second house for you throughout Virgo season. Yes, Virgo season is so much about you addressing your priorities, addressing what is working, what's working well when it comes to things like your physical security and your spending habits, your earning, these types of things, your materials, your resources. Yes, time to get a greater sense of what you feel works the best and also what isn't working, what is not really doing it for you. We think about how Virgo is so much about efficiency. So, yes, maybe, hey, you know what? A big part of it too is about using greater discernment. Discernment can be a beautiful thing for you, Leo, during Virgo season, and how that discernment can be used when it comes to your money. Indeed. Okay. Then with the lunar eclipse happening in your eighth house, I want you to think about how the lunar eclipse welcomes significant new shifts and changes, right? Lunar eclipses or eclipses in general are just more intense than normal full moons and full new moons. So yes, there could be greater clarity then when it comes to intimacy, closeness, bonding, trust. Leo, trust. I feel like that's a big one. I feel like with Saturn hanging out in your eighth house for the past year or so, trust, okay, letting people in has been a big deal for you. So the lunar eclipse, I feel, could be a big activation point or it could be a point of release. A release, shedding, transformation as well is a big part of that lunar eclipse. There will be a separate video about the new moon and the lunar eclipse. Okay, Mercury direct. So Mercury is still hanging out retrograde in your sign for the first week of Virgo season. You're still taking a closer look at your aims, your goals, what you want out of life. And then by the time Mercury does turn direct from the 28th of August, you can still mull things over. You can still kind of say, oh, okay, I wasn't sure about that the first time around. Oh, let me have a look. And you can also move forward a little bit. You can move forward with maybe some greater understandings, change of perspective. And maybe that change of perspective is just really about how you see yourself, how you view the world. Okay, your physical appearance could be a big part of this, even considering how you express yourself. I mean, self-expression is everything to a Leo, everything to a Leo. So Yeah, self-expression is very much on your mind with the retrograde. You, of course, with the directness of Mercury, time to move forward a little bit. And then really by the 9th/11th of September, with Mercury re-entering Virgo, this can be a good opportunity for you to see, okay, how can things be applied practically to my resources and my materials? Okay, it can be a good opportunity for you to really get things moving on a financial level, on a security based level. And maybe a part of this is getting people involved. It could be work related stuff coming into the equation, or co-workers, employees, etc. Or it could be, it could be about hiring someone, just an example. Or this could be more so about your health and how your health is tied to your self-worth, and how there is that connection with your body that could be just calling out to you, right? So your mental wellness could be a big part of Virgo season there. Okay, let's now think about how Venus has been hanging out in your second house as well. So for the first week of Virgo season with Venus in the second house, yes, I was saying there about self-worth. Yeah, Venus in the second house, very much a self-worth placement, very much about valuing what you offer, valuing just your body, your well-being. Maybe self-care is a big part of this, really considering how you can make your health a priority, how you can make self-care a big priority with Venus in the second. And then as Venus does enter the third house for you from the 29th of August for the rest of Virgo season, there are activations with Pluto, Lilith, and Juno. So, I'm kind of thinking, yes, this could be an opportunity for you to really rise up and to transform when it comes to communication. Maybe this is something about saying the thing that other people are too shy to say, or saying the most obvious to the point thing. And I know that it's still Libra, and Libra can be somewhat diplomatic in its delivery, but maybe with Pluto and Lilith being a part of it, there is just something about boldness and freedom and liberation and getting something off your chest. Maybe this getting something off your chest specifically when it comes to a particular relationship, right? And that relationship could be more so a sibling relationship, a cousin relationship. It could be an auntie, an uncle. It could be a peer, right? A classmate, an old friend, essentially there, Leo. And hey, you know what? Your words could actually be quite seductive. We'll say that. Could be a placement of flirting with Venus in Libra in the third. Time to get flirty, Leo. You can be quite flirty people anyway, but that flirtatiousness of yours could very well be used to your advantage. Help you get what you want. Let's just say that. Okay, so Uranus retrograde from the 1st of September until the 30th of January. So that Uranus retrograde is going to happen in your 10th house. So throughout Virgo season, yeah, time to just take a good look at your career path, right? What's the most steady? What's the most stable for you? Then again, maybe things have not felt the most steady or stable because things have been quite unpredictable. But maybe a part of it is just it's useful, I think, to look to Uranus as a point of, okay, you can't necessarily control what's happening out there in the world. You can't control life in this way, but you can focus more on the things that you can control within your environment. So maybe it is about just having a good, honest look at, okay, what things can I control here when it comes to my life path, my career, my long-term goals. Maybe this is about redefining what success actually means. Maybe that's a big thing for Leo. It's like, well, why is this successful, right? Why is it that this thing is deemed as successful? Well, what do you think? What do you want, right? It is about your uniqueness with Uranus there, thinking outside of the box there a little bit. And with Pluto retrograde re-entering Capricorn from the 1st of September until the 11th of October, We've got one final shot here for you, Leo. One final chance to really look at the foundations and the structures of your daily habits, your daily routines. Maybe this could be another opportunity to renew a few things, to transform a few things. Or maybe this is about your personal power, right? Your personal power, your personal motivations, and just having this oomph about you, right? When it comes to your work, when it comes to your services. Maybe this is also about taking another look at your health. What have you been putting off, right? What have you been sort of not really addressing health-wise? And Pluto retrograde in Capricorn can be a time off, right? Time to just get on with it. Capricorn says, yes, you know what? Capricorn says, yes, hardships happen in life. Hardships happen. We all experience adversity, but what are you going to do about it? Okay. How are you going to build? How are you going to persevere? Capricorn says, persist it. Just keep moving forward. Keep climbing. So yes, keep climbing there, Leo, when it comes to your services you offer, when it comes to your health and your wellness. Okay, let's now lastly turn our focus to Mars. So Mars is still hanging out in your 11th house for the first couple of weeks of Virgo season. So a lot of activity going on when it comes to your friendships, your groups that you're a part of, the clubs you're a part of. Maybe you're really curious about joining new groups lately. Maybe you are a bit more social and interactive, more so out there in the world. You want to make changes in the world. You want to join certain causes or movements or give to certain charities, etc. You want to do all the things there to make changes and to be really active. And variety is certainly a part of it too. Now, with Mars then entering Cancer from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, I'll say this: time to get a little bit more quiet, especially when it comes to your drive, your energy levels. Maybe it is just a good time, right? Good opportunity to rest a bit. Rest when you can. Or maybe it's a good opportunity for you to just focus more on your spiritual goals, right? To go within, to consider your behind the scenes activities. Solitude could be a big part of this. Retreating could be a big part of this. Yes, taking that time away to, well, step out of the spotlight for a little while as part of your own sort of personal motivations. Maybe that's the thing. You just need that energetically, and that's okay, right? We all need that from time to time. And naturally, of course, there's more to this story. There is more to this story because a Mars retrograde will happen at the end of the year. Virgo. Okay, so Virgo, here we go. Virgo, it is your season. So I do want to start off by saying happy birthday to all of you solar Virgos out there. I hope you have the best birthday. I hope you really enjoy your time. Right. So let's begin by saying there will be a new moon in your sign. There will be a lunar eclipse happening in your 7th. So the new moon in your sign is going to indicate you setting new intentions, planting new seeds to do with your life path, your aims, your goals, your direction. This has already been quite a big deal for you, of course, with your chart ruler retrograding in your sign there just about a week or so ago. I'll say more about that in a moment. And I'll also just say in general, right, when we think about how certain planets have been moving through your first house, there are big themes and chapters to do with your body and how you view the world and your aims, right? Really, it's about you. It's about the self. It's being able to step back and to think about what you actually want with your life, what you want right now. Any significant new changes or shifts here coming up, Virgo? So yes, the new moon will highlight these themes, and then the lunar eclipse in your 7th is going to be it's going to be quite significant for your relationships and your partnerships, clients, customers, these areas, But maybe a part of it is really diving into your spiritual qualities, right? Your spiritual values, your spiritual morals. Yeah, and letting those things guide you or lead the way when it comes to things like partnerships and relationships. So there will be a separate video about the lunar eclipse and the new moon. But Virgo season, yes, the sun in Virgo invites this whole thing of shining a light on your body, shining a light on your health. I mean, I know for myself, got a Virgo rising. I've been thinking, yes, I love what I love about this time of year is I love reorganizing all of my clothes from the summer clothes to the autumn clothes, and I just love having a good clear out. So, Virgo, of course, you may relate. You're all about decluttering, reorganizing your space, making things just easier to access. Efficiency, of course, is a big thing for you. Your productivity levels come up during your season. How helpful you can be, how of service you can be to others. And yeah, so really getting a few things in order. And then also your stress levels may be like, woo, 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 really paying attention to your stress levels. I can't help but think that the Mercury retrograde that was happening there in your sign just before Mercury retrograde entered Leo, I can't help but think that a lot of you have been gaining greater insights about stress, right? And what stress does to your body. There's the whole thing of stress is a silent killer. And we know this about you, Virgo. You can be really nervy, you can overthink, you can really, really worry about things. And a lot of that I feel is tied to your overthinking, right? You can really analyze things and read into things too much. But I just also want to say this within itself is a beautiful thing about you too. I just want to highlight that, I think for you, you are people who have great work ethic, you care about the work that you do, and that oh my goodness, that shines through, especially during Virgo season. I'm going to say this, people are going to notice you a lot more in this way. People are going to see your gifts, people are going to see your work ethic and your delivery. They're really going to see it throughout Virgo season. And especially with Venus still hanging out in your sign for the first week of Virgo season, more so. Yes, this is quite an attractive energy. It's a kind of this magnetic energy as well. And just really coming across as likable and as quite enjoyable to be around. This energy is quite a pleasant energy. Okay, now I want to think about, well, I suppose we did touch on this already with Mercury, but Mercury retrograde is still happening in your 12th for the first week of Virgo season. Okay, this is how I'm going to explain this. Good opportunity still to just go toward the dramatic stuff, the entertainment stuff. I know for myself, right? I've been watching a lot of really dramatic things, gossipy, dramatic things on the television, right? And I'm like, yes, it's an escape from reality. It's that kind of trashy television where, people are arguing over the most unnecessary things and you just know that it's so staged, right? It's not real. But I'm like, yeah, okay, let's just chuck it on because it's entertaining, So how can you how can you entertain your mind a little bit? And how can that entertainment of your mind be a way for you to escape? Okay, so that way you're not worrying so much, you're not thinking about all the things you can't control. Just take that time. Take that time to just step behind the scenes when you need to, go into solitude when you need to. Just play around with all these things. Play around within your imagination. Maybe a good retreat or escaping to some other destination can be really enjoyable for you. Just to rest the mind, to not think about all the other woes and worries that exist out there in the world. Tapping into your inner child is also welcomed here. Naturally, by the 9th/11th of September, with Mercury re-entering your sign, my goodness, the landscape of your life could very well change. you may notice that things start to just unfold in really beautiful ways. Things are just really synchronized. You don't have to try so much. Maybe this is what you're coming to terms with, Virgo. You don't have to try so hard. You don't. And just you showing up as you, right? Mercury retrograde, even in Leo, you showing up authentically, you showing up as an individual, you showing up just as yourself, that is enough. So maybe a part of Mercury re-entering your sign is just that clarity. It's like, right, okay, yes, I don't have to prove myself to people all the time. I am enough. I like who I am. I like what I'm about. And carrying that forward, right? I think this has been coming through for me with Mercury retrograde in Leo. Head held high, right? I think about that meme or that image or whatever of Marilyn Monroe, and I forget the name of the other actress, but they're walking, right? Of course, Marilyn Monroe had a Leo rising, but walking with their heads held high, right? Because Virgo, you can have the tendency of like looking down or, being into yourself, having a quite a worrisome face. But maybe a part of this Mercury retrograde says, head held high, okay? You can do this. You've got this. Self assurance, confidence, Virgo. Okay, great. So let's now think about Venus. So, like I said, Venus is still hanging out in your sign for the first week of your season, and then Venus will enter your second house from the 29th of August for the rest of Virgo season. So, making significant aspects to Pluto retrograde, Lilith, and Juno. Right. Where will I go with this one? What's coming through is self-worth. What's coming through is not giving your power away. What is coming through is accepting who you are wholeheartedly. Because the thing I'm just going to say is you can have the tendency of valuing other people's opinions way too much. And maybe a part of the South Node in your second house is helping you see where the scales are tipped too much there, where things are not very aligned, where things are not very balanced. So, yes, this could be a good opportunity for you to really get in touch with greater self-acceptance, greater refinement, even being able to just lead the way too. Of course, Libra is still a cardinal sign, to lead the way when it comes to your finances and your resources, leading the way so that greater balance is obtained. Okay, maybe this is a good opportunity for you to see, right, what is not really working, what's not super balanced when it comes to my finances and my earnings there. And you can make those necessary changes. And maybe even a part of this too is you're doing this for a purpose, you're doing this for a reason. Maybe it's to form greater bonds within your relationships, maybe it's about experiencing greater depth and intimacy with lovers. Perhaps it's about being able to indulge a little bit, to enjoy a little bit with friends, etc. But whatever, your reasons may be, I think Venus and Libra is going to provide an opportunity for you to just look at the scales, look at your financial scales. Okay, what's not adding up there? What can be changed so that you feel a lot more stable and secure? Uranus retrograde. Okay, so Uranus retrograde is going to start from the 1st of September until the 30th of January. So Uranus retrograde is going to highlight you just taking a closer look at your higher education, advanced training. Could be quite a useful thing actually, because you can maybe take a closer look at your skills and how you can refine your skills. You're all about refining your skills, and we see the energy flow, that positive sort of delightful energy flow between Taurus and you, Virgo. So yeah, could be a good opportunity for you to take a closer look at your skill set and to maybe add to it, to think about, okay, well, how can I maybe learn more as a way to help me along within this position? Maybe a part of this skill set is about teaching, it's about journalism, it's tied to travel, broadcasting. Maybe a part of it is tied to property or real estate. Okay, these things, these areas. And then we also notice that from the 1st of September until the 11th of October, Pluto retrograde is dipping one last time into your 5th house. So we have this last sort of chance to really take a closer look at, well, things like children, your hobbies, your forms of enjoyment, time off. My goodness. Maybe a big part of this is about time off, Virgo, and how Pluto retrograde can invite some type of transformation where you can get a greater sense for, or a greater sense of, how you wish to spend your time off and what that means to you. I kind of think about how Virgo, and I'm just going to say this, maybe based on personal experience, but see if it resonates. See if it resonates. But Virgo, you can have the tendency of just filling up your calendar and not really having much time off, for yourself. So yeah, this could be a good opportunity for you to gain a greater sense of these areas. And then even I would say on a relationship level, right? Romantic relationships and love, these things could be transformed in some way, shape, or form one final time in this way. Or it's just about, what did you not look at the last time? What did you overlook? What did you not see? It's time to gain greater clarity. Lastly, then we have Mars entering Cancer from the 4th of September. So Mars is still hanging out in your 10th house the first couple of weeks of Virgo season. So Mars in your 10th has been a good opportunity for you to be quite active, quite assertive about what you want professionally. And the positions and the roles that you're going for may be communicated quite strongly, or maybe it's just about changing things up, right? Switching up your path, switching up things so that your professional life works a lot more smoother, or to ensure that you can be somewhat creative there, right? I feel like there are many questions there for you professionally speaking, Virgo. And then with Mars entering Cancer from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, well, this going to activate your 11th house. So your goals and your willpower, your drive, your motivations, these things are going to be more about, could be the collective, could be about making a difference within the world. It could be about your hopes and wishes for the future, and how you typically tend to be quite security orientated, and you tend to also be quite protective about your future aims and goals. So yes, there could be this sort of dynamic energy, this leadership energy that goes into these areas for you throughout your season. And then there will be more to this story by the end of the year as Mars retrograde happens in Leo and Cancer. God save the Queen. Hello to you. Welcome. I hope that you enjoyed the Virgo rising segment. Right, so Libra. Rightio. I'm just changing my seat for my back. I might have pulled a muscle in my shoulder, but it's okay. I can feel it. I can feel, I need massage would be great. Anyway. Okay, I'm just going to have a drink of water, and then we're going to get on to the other 6 signs. Okay, so Libra. We're going to try and make these a little bit quicker because we're already an hour and 40 minutes in. Right, so Libra. Virgo season for you, Libra. Well, there will be a new moon in your 6th and a lunar eclipse in your 12th. So setting new intentions when it comes to your spiritual practices, sleep, rest, rejuvenation, recharging these things. Your dreams might also be really heightened during this time. And then also major releases, significant new shifts and changes to do with your daily practices, your everyday lives, thinking about the services you provide, thinking about the work that you do. But all of this is going to be really very spiritual and insightful and intuitive there. and possibly quite healing for you throughout Virgo season. Now, the sun being in your 12th house throughout Virgo season is actually so much about, okay, time to recharge. I always say this whenever the sun moves through the 12th before the season, it can be a good way for you to just get clear about a few things before your season arrives. You're the next one after Virgo, Libra. So, yeah, maybe it's a good opportunity for you to focus on self-care, your own health, your wellness. And with Mercury here for the first week of Virgo season, um, Mercury retrograde is still in your 11th house. So you're still taking a closer look at friendships, how you show up within community, thinking about play and fun there with respect to togetherness. There could be some classes you've been joining or hobbies that you've been taking on or a hobby that you've revisited there. And then, of course, with Mercury re-entering Virgo on the 12th, so by around the 9th to the 9th / the 11th of September, you are going to move forward when it comes to the rest stuff. Okay, the relaxation stuff. I even just want to say from the 28th of August there, just to take it a step back a moment, from the 28th of August, it will be a good opportunity for you to make greater sense of the friendship club, more of the collective things that I just mentioned previously, more of the social things. So yes, good opportunity to move forward, but also to mull things over. You can gain a greater perspective there. And then yes, with Mercury then re-entering Virgo and being in your 12th house, once again, I do think that it does just further indicate and highlight the significance of mental wellness. I think your mental health is a big driving factor throughout Virgo season, and it's important to listen to that. I think, if you do feel like you've been giving a lot or you've been worrying or you've been overthinking, maybe it is a good opportunity for you to take a step back just for a moment. Maybe a part of this is tied to the work that you do. Maybe a part of it is tied to your education and how you show up there when it comes to things like broadcasting, publishing, media, these areas, right? With even Gemini in your 9th house. So yes, to take a step back when need be. And maybe as well, greater sleep can be scheduled, greater sleeping patterns, greater sleeping habits. Habits with the 12th house. Okay, let's now think about Venus. So, Venus, of course, Venus is your chart ruler. Venus is still hanging out in your 12th house for the first week of Virgo season. So, I mean, we're not just saying here that it's not a matter of you just talking about or thinking about relaxation and rest and recharging. There's actually an enjoyment, there's actually a necessity, there's a priority here, and also not apologizing, I would say, right? There's something here about actually being able to humbly say, hey, I need time for myself, or I need time to step away from this. Okay, to step away from your phone, to step away from a social situation or a work situation. Of course, I get that practically speaking, that can mean many different things for people. It's not so black and white or straightforward. I get that. But yes, there can actually be a genuine love for relaxation during this time. Maybe, hey, a genuine love for movies and art and a little bit of escapism there. A bit of escapism, but healthy escapism, hopefully, with Virgo in the 12th for you, Libra. And then by the 29th of August, Venus will enter your sign and there will be activations with Pluto, Lilith, and Juno. Oh, well, what a time to be seen. What a time to be admired, to be liked. It could be a very social time. It could be quite an energetic time, I would even say, with Pluto and Lilith being a part of it. It could be freeing, liberating. Maybe there is so much to be said about your life path here and your aims and your goals, and hey, possibly weighing out your options a little bit. But yes, Venus can invite greater pleasure, reward, enjoyment, attracting people to you, greater opportunity when it comes to business partnerships, negotiations, contracts, collaborations there. Oh, yes, indeed. You can draw people to you during this time, maybe in the most unexpected ways or in ways where you really speak to people on a deeper level, with Pluto being a part of it. Now, Uranus retrograde. So from the 1st of September until the 30th of January, Uranus is going to be retrograde. So Uranus retrograde will happen in your 8th house. So a good opportunity for you to gain greater clarity, a greater perspective about things like financial planning, budgeting. Of course, this is about how you do this with your significant other, with a partner. Of course, by partner, this could also be a business thing. But yeah, any person that you share resources with, you share money with, Uranus retrograde says, okay, take a look at the financial stuff. You may be surprised. There could be unexpected things happening. There could be some unpredictable moments there along the way. But whatever the case may be, it is about gaining clarity and looking closer at things. Just taking a longer pause, if you will, okay? Make sure that things are cleared up there. Okay, so Pluto retrograde. Pluto retrograde is going to re-enter your 4th house for one final time. So this will be from the 1st of September, the Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, until the 11th of October. So one final opportunity here, Libra, for you to see how the foundations are built, how the structures are built when it comes to family and home. Considering, for example, what you wish to achieve home-wise, living situation-wise, the successes that you've already achieved there when it comes to these areas, when it comes to these matters too. But yes, there could be something that perhaps you didn't really notice before. Okay. You didn't quite see before, and you can maybe have another look, and it's like, right, okay, I can see with this family member these blockages or these limitations where we don't really gel well, for example, or how you can take greater responsibility within a situation, how other family members, when they don't take responsibility, and that's not really your responsibility to make them, if you know what I mean. Yes. So, indeed, a lot of it is to do with your own inner authority and sense of self respect, too, and integrity, and how these qualities show up within family situations. And naturally, considering again the building that is still partly being done there when it comes to your living situation and your home life. Right, Mars. Let's talk about Mars quickly. So Mars is still hanging out in your 9th house for the first 2 weeks of Virgo season. So we're going to see here for you, you're still being quite active about things like travel, new experiences, expansion, self-discovery, right? There could be a lot coming through to do with higher education or just wanting to learn more in general, right? Wanting to expand your own awareness about things. And yes, there is that greater curiosity, being quite flexible, right? The flexibility of your mindset. And maybe from that, there has been a lot of questioning happening on your end, right? Questioning your beliefs, questioning your worldviews, these things, questioning your philosophies. And then with Mars entering your 10th house from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, oh, well, it's a good way for you to focus your energy more so on things like your accomplishments, your achievements, your successes, But I think a part of it, though, with Cancer is more so about how these things are aligned with your security, right? It's on the, you flip it and you have Aries there in the first house and Libra in the seventh. Aries is like, right, okay, Capricorn in my 10th. I am climbing, I am building. I do want to gain that manager role or step into that leadership manager role there. But with you, Libra, it may not necessarily be about you stepping into a manager role, but it's more so about how does your position, how does your role really how does it mix in with things like your family life, your home life, your private life, your emotional world? See, Libra, it's funny because you think about all aspects of life, right? You are the scales. So you're going to weigh out your options constantly. So I see this as you doing this with relationships. I see you doing this with friendships, with your home life, with your career life. So it's not so straightforward, I don't think, when it comes to things like status and success and money and your reputation. I think you're the types of people who will suss things out. You will show a level of caution. So Mars in Cancer in the 10th house for you can maybe just invite that negotiation process, or that, should I say, that weighing out process is a better way to put it. It's, yeah, the weighing out process for you, and to take it just step by step and to see what works for you there, within the professional space, within the professional world. And do keep in mind that there is more to this story by the end of the year, because Mars will be retrograde. Okay, hello, David. Hi, welcome. I hope you're doing good. Recharging. You've been having mad visual dreams. Interesting. Interesting. A lot of stuff happening in the 12th. Emery Rising, hello. Welcome. You just missed Virgo. But yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Yes, you can rewatch. Awesome. Welcome to Ruby. Welcome to you. Okay, so Scorpio next. All right. Okay, so Virgo season for Scorpios. Right. We have a new moon happening in your 11th, and then the eclipse happening in your 5th. So the new moon in the 11th is going to usher in new beginnings, new chapters to do with your friendships, your social circles, movements you're a part of, causes you're a part of, the collective changes you wish to see in the world. I'll even just say here, Scorpio, you choose your friends wisely. It's not about the quantity of your friends, it's always about the quality of your friends. You're very selective, you're very particular. Some would say you're quite fussy. Some may say that. Some may say that. But really, it is about finding friendships or communities or teams where people do have some sort of humility about them, and they're willing to work on improvements and to do better. Yes. And then what I also want to say here, with the lunar eclipse happening in your 5th, this could be a good opportunity for you to really come to terms with your creativity, your hobbies, your forms of enjoyment, how you play, how you have fun. But such matters are going to be quite intensified, and there could be spiritual insights that come up, maybe spiritual insights to do with children or to do with your artwork, how you spend time with your romantic partner as well could be a big part of this. And maybe just in general, love is a big part of this. Healing is a big part of this. considering how such matters are tied to your ego or your self-expression and your individuality. Now, with the sun being in your 11th house throughout Virgo season, this is where we notice shining a light on that of your collective aims and goals and things like this, your hopes for the future. And I even just want to say, Scorpio, you're the types of people who find your niche. Whenever you really find like a craft or a hobby or something that you're just really, really good at, you tend to gravitate towards similar people, right? People just come to you, I feel, naturally. But yeah, there is a kind of niche mentality. And I think this can even help you when it comes to business and management, because Scorpio, you tend to take on manager roles and business positions. You tend to step into positions of power, and of course, I say that in a positive way. There, Scorpio. So yes, the sun shining its light on Virgo in your 11th house, or the sun being in Virgo and shining its light in your 11th house throughout Virgo season, can speak to this specific niche part of you within groups. I think even in this way, you're quite good at seeing people's weaknesses and strengths. I'll even say that. Yeah, you can be quite good at reading people in this regard. Maybe as well, the sun in your 11th can indicate, as I was saying a moment ago, more of this focus on your future, right? Your hopes for the future. And I think you're the types of people who can be quite cautious and particular and smart, right? You're quite smart about future investments, about what you get yourself in for. Yeah. So yeah, the sun could be really activating these parts of yourself during Virgo season. Now let's talk about Mercury. So Mercury is still retrograde in your 10th house for the first week of Virgo season. So you're still taking a closer look at things like management, professionalism, success, status, your reputation, shining, of course, when it comes to your expertise, and just showing up authentically as well in front of the public. And then as Mercury does turn direct from the 28th of August, you're going to move forward with greater clarity there when it comes to these themes and areas, but you're still going to mull things over. And then when it comes to Mercury re-entering Virgo, so by around the 9th/11th of September, this will be a good opportunity for you to network, for you to maybe even see how you can improve within certain organizations or firms that you're a part of, or seeing what improvements can be made, right, amongst the group or within the group. And then what you think about it, right? Really, how you can even deliver those improvements, how you can make a plan, maybe setting a plan of action into place a little bit there when it comes to certain groups or organizations you're a part of. And just to even take it away a little bit from, such work focus. Of course, work ethic could really come into this, I do think, but perhaps even a part of this is getting people together within a group situation in general, right? So this could be a club, this could be a group that you're a part of or that you've started. Maybe you do tend to start groups, or to be involved in them in some way, shape, or form is important to you. So yes, maybe this is about some kind of an organized situation, right? It's making something happen so that everybody involved does their part and they show up with their own skills, their unique skills to share. So maybe a part of it is you, right? You wanting to show up too. Okay, so let's now think about Venus. Venus is still hanging out in your 11th house. Okay, it's interesting because still for the first week of Virgo season, and with Venus, of course, being in your 11th, this is where we're noticing the desire and the interest on your part when it comes to the group club stuff. Maybe you like, organizing a party or hosting a social event. But again, it has to be people that you respect, people that you trust, people that you want within your social circle, So, yeah, there could be this likability, there could be this popularity situation going on. I think of someone important in my life who has Scorpio energy and just how magnetic they are. Yeah. Scorpios, you can be like this. You can be such charismatic people. You can be such charming people. So, to have Venus in the 11th, this charm could certainly come across within your social circles there, Scorpio. Now, as Venus enters your 12th house from the 29th of August for the rest of Virgo season, making aspects to Pluto retrograde and Lilith and Juno, well, this actually is an opportunity for you to do some inner work, deep reflection, time to retreat a little bit. Hey, it could be that you retreat with another person. It could be that you retreat with your significant other, with a partner, with someone who you're just very close with. Or perhaps this is about addressing your fears, addressing the things that slip you up, the things that get in your way, right? Your own sort of relationship worries, your own relationship blockages, partnership fears could be a part of this, commitment fears could be a part of this. How might you be holding yourself back? And maybe a part of it is about weighing out your options, weighing out the pros and the cons. Or maybe this is about tapping into a pretty a pretty central part of yourself, right? Because with Pluto and Lilith, hey, this could be quite a sexual time. It could be a very steamy time in this way for many Scorpios, really, yeah, connecting, let's just say connecting with the body, but even thinking about connecting on a more intimate level with partners too. Okay, so a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I'm gonna say bedroom stuff. Right, just gonna say that. Okay, now from the 1st of September until the 30th of January, we have Uranus retrograde. So Uranus retrograde here will happen in your 7th. So could be quite an eye-opening time when it comes to partnerships and relationships. It could be like these flashes of insight, these aha moments when it comes to sensuality and stability and closeness and support within your relationships. Even just taking a closer look at what surprises you, right? Hey, could be a good opportunity to switch things up, to spice things up a little bit. Or maybe it is also about addressing stubbornness, addressing lack of cooperation slightly, okay? We think about pride. Pride could be a big part of this, not wanting to budge, okay? So maybe it is about really taking a closer look at these qualities within your relationships, either coming from you or coming from others. Now, Pluto retrograde, let's talk about it. So remember, Pluto is one of your chart rulers. We're going to get on to your other chart ruler in a moment. But Pluto retrograde is stepping back in there into the 3rd house for you from the 1st of September until the 11th of October with the retrograde. So anything you overlooked, anything that you missed there when it came to communication, when it came to understanding a little bit there. Of course, understanding can come via communication and listening and learning from the other, etc. Taking a closer look as well when it comes to sibling relationships, even just where you live, right? Your local area, how safe you feel, how supported you feel. Is it that you see yourself living long term within a particular area? Do you maybe want to move? Do you maybe want to relocate? Right? Really just a good honest review there. And again, it could be a case of you didn't quite see something the last time, and perhaps a certain situation comes to light. There could be some truths that come up that make you rethink where you're at, right? So yes, this could be something about transformations and renewals when it comes to relocating. Again, though, this could just be more about communication, learning, studying. It could be more about sibling relationships and cousin relationships. Lastly, right, so Mars is still hanging out in your eighth house for the first couple of weeks of Virgo season before entering your ninth. So, with Mars in your eighth house for the first couple of weeks, this is still about things like intimacy, emotional bonding. Oh, we see here a lot of willpower and drive going into the sexual stuff. This is also why I was kind of saying earlier with Venus, I was saying the bedroom stuff with Venus in the 12th. But with Mars in Gemini, Mars in Gemini still speaks to, well, especially in the eighth house, it speaks to that of your intimacy desires and really taking action, So hey, I'll say this. Perhaps for many Scorpios, you are feeling a greater connection with your intimate partners, maybe because communication is happening, because you're actually speaking about what you want and what you enjoy, what you find to be pleasurable there. But to take it away from that department, there could be even something to be said about changing things up when it comes to sharing, right? Sharing resources, sharing finances, a change of scenery, wanting something new, or wanting to just, to switch things up, just to switch how you do things up a little bit there. And I'll also say then, because the eighth house rules other people's money, it's more so, I'll even say here, your partner's money, maybe they are being quite active and determined about their own finances. And a lot of that is to do with reaching their own financial goals. And maybe you are encouraging them, you're really pushing them along there. And then lastly, with Mars entering Cancer from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, this then could be about your willpower and your determination, more so being focused on that of long distance travel. Maybe traveling with family is on the cards for you, taking some sort of significant trip there. Again, it could be with family, it could be with your significant other. Maybe this is about your goals being geared toward higher education or advanced training, right? Really taking on a new training program. And maybe a lot of that has to do with leadership there. Of course, again, with Mars being your chart ruler, this could be about significant changes to leadership, to how you show up as a leader there. Or let's just go with one extra example. This could be more about self-exploration, self-discovery, adventure. There could be this greater desire to want to just expand and grow. And that expansion and that growth comes more from an emotional tug. Now, there is more to this story, remember, because Mars retrograde will happen at the end of the year. Okay, so Sagittarius. We're getting there, everyone. We're getting there. Could be a 3-hour session. Thank you for being here. Thank you for waiting. Right. Let's see. Oh, did not. Sagittarius. Okay. Right. Oh, also, B.S. Nixon. Hello. Welcome to you. Thanks for being here. Yes, Sagittarius, let's do this. So there's a lot happening within the career department, within the professional department. Considering your purpose as well is quite important throughout Virgo season. So the new moon in Virgo will happen in your 10th house. So setting new intentions, planting new seeds to do with your purpose, to do with your long-term goals there. And considering how such matters, they are more about being practical and thoughtful, service orientated, quite helpful as well. And with the lunar eclipse also happening in your fourth house, we're going to see here significant new changes to do with family and home, significant new shifts, and possibly chapters closing to do with the past, right? There could be um, a lot here about the past and your upbringing, and maybe even a part of it is making peace with the past, or a part of it is forgiving others from the past. Maybe even a part of this is about your own personal sanctuary, right? It's about peace, it's about tranquility, serenity. All these spiritual sort of themes come up here around this lunar eclipse for you, Sagittarius. And maybe even a part of it is clear out, like spiritual, emotional clear outs there. Right. So let's now think about how during Virgo season, the sun in Virgo shines its light on your 10th house of status. Again, we go back to career, but it also shines its light on that of your lifelong mission, right? The work that you do, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about career or your profession. This could just be on a very simple level, a very basic level. This could just be about helping others. This could just be about being a decent person, even just being of service to those in need, to those who need your help there. So, yes, the sun in Virgo can highlight these themes. And what I also want to mention then is Mercury. So Mercury is still retrograde in your 9th house for the first week of Virgo season. And so you are still taking a closer look at your belief systems, your worldviews, your higher education, your philosophies. Yes, you're still taking a closer look at these areas, and maybe such areas are about your own confidence. They're tied to enjoyment and play and fun. And then I'll even just say this, it could be quite an active time in terms of travel and just wanting to be on the move. I mean, of course, Sagittarius, you are the sign that loves to travel and to expand your knowledge, to expand your worldviews there. And then we notice here with Mercury direct in your 9th house from the 28th of August, you're going to still mull things over when it comes to these areas, but it's also about moving forward slightly, okay? The clarity can be gained, greater perspective can be gained, and then we notice that by the 9th, 11th of September, around that time period, Mercury will be back in the 10th house for you. So you will, I feel, move forward with greater clarity when it comes to the service stuff, when it comes to the professional stuff. The purpose matters there that I just previously mentioned. But, maybe a part of it too is really considering how it is that you speak up within your professional life. Maybe this is about certain conversations with an employer, or this could even be about time management, your stress levels, your productivity, right? You may be in the process right now of just waiting for information to come through, an email, a message, a piece of documentation there. You could be waiting at the moment, but with Mercury re-entering Virgo, this could be where you get the all clear. The all clear about a work situation, or the all clear there about an accomplishment, an achievement situation, especially if it is that you have been working toward a particular achievement. Because, I do think, Sagittarius, when it comes to anything that you do in this life, you want to do it well. I really think that Sagittarius is the sign that will overachieve at times because you really want to get better. You really want to improve. Refining your skills is a big part of this then. And with Venus still being in your 10th house for the first week of Virgo season, we're going to see this. We're still noticing you focusing more on your skills and your talents and your gifts. And maybe this is quite an attractive time for you, right? Very attractive with employers, with managers, bosses, etc. Maybe you're getting greater recognition, or people are seeing you. People want to work with you. They want to collaborate with you. Or maybe this is just about pay and your money in general there, right? Just taking the time to really look at your finances there and how you wish to maybe earn from your services, or what you can change there about your services, that so that your finances are looking a lot more healthy for you. Okay, so Venus then will enter Libra from the 29th of August. So, well, Pluto, Lilith, and Juno will be a part of this. So for the rest of Virgo season, there will be a lot of emphasis, a lot of focus on that of collaboration and friendship and teamwork. I think, Sagittarius, you're the types of people who do value that sort of give and take within your friendships and groups and clubs, etc. Maybe you love to get people together, you love to host, parties and get-togethers, stuff like this come up, and you can be, I would even say, quite good at this, quite social, quite interactive individuals. So we may see for you just a greater focus on these connections and these relationships in general. But maybe too, a part of this is having to address something within yourself about any power dynamics, or anything that feels a bit like, oh, this is holding me back. This is keeping me from really showing up here and really saying what I think, right? There could be some unconscious themes there to work with, some shadow stuff coming up there. Let's now think about Uranus retrograde. Okay, so Uranus retrograde is going to be from the 1st of September until the 30th of January 2025. So Uranus retrograde will have you, I feel, taking a closer look at your routines, your habits, what you've outgrown there a little bit, anything that you would like to innovate in a way when it comes to your health, your diet, nutrition, these areas. Your stress levels could be a big part of this. I think that you tend to focus a lot on feelings of contentment more than anything with Uranus in the 6th house. You want like a nice content lifestyle, I think. One before the last, we have Pluto. Pluto retrograde. So Pluto will re-enter Capricorn from the 1st of September until the 11th of October. So this is one final opportunity here, Sagittarius, just to take a closer look at all of the accounting stuff, the investment stuff, budgeting, earning, spending, what have you been building there? And how are these things then part of a bigger plan, right? We think about retirement funds. Yeah, we think about, I would even say here, life insurance, all of these things, just to be realistic, just to be practical, just to be honest about anything that you've overlooked before there. So yes, a good opportunity to just address these areas. And then Mars is on the move. So for the first 2 weeks of Virgo season, Mars is still hanging out in the opposite sign in Gemini. So this indicates you still asserting yourself in some ways within your relationships. And maybe a part of this is being quite vocal about what you want there. Maybe this is even partly about others reflecting this back to you, right? It's almost like your relationships are showing up in a way where people are testing you slightly, or forcing you in a way to speak up and to really be quite assertive in some ways. And maybe this could be related to business, it could be related to clients and customers. Of course, with Mars, there could be some disagreements, some arguments, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, with this, perhaps it is having just to be quite direct about what you really wish to say, and getting your point across and not really leaving things unsaid so that you can just move on in a way there. And then with Mars entering Cancer, this will happen in your 8th house. So from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, with Mars in the 8th, this can actually be quite a good psychological experience for you, Sagittarius, a good opportunity for you to dive deeper into your psyche, to dive deeper into why you do the things you do. You may place a lot of focus and energy into that of, unresolved traumas, taking a closer look at family stuff, family blockages, possibly emotional stuff that's buried there. Yes, being quite active. And with that, naturally, such matters can be, I would say, emotionally draining. So do make sure to take care of yourself as well. But hey, this could also be a situation where your willpower and your drive just focuses more on intimacy and emotional security there. So that emotional security and how that's important for opening up, and trust then on that note is a big part of this. Maybe even addressing repressed anger is going to be a big theme here. And what I just want to finish off by saying for you, Sagittarius, is these themes will be looked at again. So there's more to this story because Mars retrograde will happen at the end of the year. Okay. All right. So Capricorn, we're getting there, folks. We are getting there. Capricorn. Oh, where are my times? Yes, Capricorn. Right. So, Capricorn, Pluto is going to re-enter your sign for one final time. We're going to talk about it. But let's think about the new moon and the lunar eclipse. So there will be a new moon which will happen in your 9th, suggesting what? Suggesting that you will plant new seeds and set new intentions to do with things like higher education, travel, to do with your belief systems, your philosophies, your understandings of life, and also considering things like your growth and how you expand your worldviews there. Yes, higher learning and just expansion is a big part of this. And I do think for you, Capricorn, you're the types of people who try to make improvements when you can, with Virgo in your 9th house. Then with the lunar eclipse happening in your 3rd house, we're going to notice here significant chapters closing, significant clarity there to do with, how you think, how you process information. Maybe spiritual qualities come into play. Your intuition comes into play. Your imagination as well is a big part of this. How you visualize, how you dream. These things are going to be quite heavy and strong. There will be a separate video about the new moon and the lunar eclipse. Right, so during Virgo season, right, with the sun in Virgo shining its light on your 9th house, I do think that it provides you with an opportunity just to go over, right, okay, what is my understanding about the knowledge that I've been learning about? It's a good opportunity to go back into that, right? Because it's one thing, I suppose, to know information, but it's another thing to understand it, right? So it's one thing to kind of communicate information, but it's another to really experience it and to have it be a part of your life. So maybe that's a part of this Virgo season for you. It's about not just talking the talk, but it's also walking the walk. And it's really about integrating, the lessons that have been coming up for you recently. Lessons to do with philosophy and spirituality and how those things show up on a realistic day-to-day level, right? Thinking about little habits and routines that you can form there. I'll just even give you a quick example. So recently I shared something to do with Stoicism. And Stoicism is basically a philosophy, and I'm not really going to get into, super, descriptive words about what that all really means. To be quite honest with you, I don't even know myself. It's just something that I've been introduced to a little bit more recently. But I think just in a nutshell, it's really about recognizing that there's only so much we can control in life, and it's not really about the stuff that we can't control. It's more about how can we control ourselves. So that is just a very just a quick way to put it. There's a lot more to it, of course. I have been watching many videos about it, but the point being, right, the point being, Capricorn, I think that Stoicism is like the perfect philosophy for you. If you're a Capricorn and you're watching this, and I'm also saying this from a perspective of lived experience because I'm very Capricorn heavy. I've got a Capricorn stellium. Saturn is also conjunct the Sun and Mercury in my chart. But anyway, if you're a Capricorn and you're really struggling with hardship, you're struggling with adversity, you're struggling with setbacks and limitations, and you're kind of in that bitterness, because let's face it, Capricorn, you can get bitter. You can get better. You can live in this place of self-defeat, and you can also come from a place of, I just want to give up and this is too hard. So if you're a Capricorn and you're in this space, I just want to maybe suggest to you that Stoicism is a really helpful philosophy that can help you gain greater control of yourself. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. And I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to push things. It's just a simple suggestion, and it's just me speaking from my own experience there. But I also just even want to add to this, and maybe this is a part of Pluto retrograde, re-entering your sign. I just want to say intuitively here, when it comes to the whole stuff to do with quote unquote giving up, I just want to say that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to walk away from a career path. It's okay to, be so involved, be so invested in something over many, many years, and to just go, do you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Or to say, do you know what? I need to change my path. I need to change my direction because I need it for my own sanity, right? That is okay too, right? I think it would be quite foolish of us to keep persisting and keep pushing towards something, where it's like we've extended all of our possible avenues, right? We've done everything we can, and it's okay, right? It's okay to walk away from a situation, is what I'm trying to say. So all of this is to say, Capricorn, that I think Pluto re-entering your sign from the 1st of September until the 11th of October is going to be quite eye-opening when it comes to these themes. So just remember that. So that's what I'm just going to say about that. Now, let's talk about Mercury. So Mercury is still hanging out in your 8th house for the first week of Virgo season. It's still retrograde. So good opportunity for you to reassess things like shared resources, other people's money, your partner's money, maybe just taking a closer look at your asexuality. It's funny I said asexuality, but yet I said the word earlier anyway. Yes, to take a closer look at your asexuality and intimacy, intimacy and closeness and emotional bonding may be a big part of this for you, and trusting others with your words, trusting other people that when you open up with them, about intimate matters, about private matters, that they are loyal to you, right? That those people are loyal to you, that they respect you, that your secret is safe with them, basically, is what I'm trying to get at there. Major renewals and transformations up ahead here, I feel, for you, Capricorn, when it comes to loyalty and confidence and self-assurance and self-love. Then by the 28th of August, you will move forward with these lessons. Of course, still mull things over. Now, by the 9th/11th of September, with Mercury being in your 9th house, I think that, well, you may have a greater sense of things that you want to educate people on, that you want to teach people about. I mean, you're really quite good at breaking down information. Capricorn, you can be quite skilled at simplifying information in layman's terms for others. So yes, Mercury re-entering the 9th could be a good way for you to really make things happen, to get the ball rolling there. There could be something even about publishing or broadcasting, maybe a few legal procedures or legal matters get cleaned up. Maybe there are some significant improvements there that are made there. Even simple adjustments that can be made when it comes to your philosophies. And maybe a part of that ties in with the Stoicism stuff that I was saying about a moment ago. Right, now let's think about Venus. So Venus has been also hanging out in your ninth house. Will do so for the first week of Virgo season. So yes, I mean, this just repeats a little bit of the stuff I was just talking about, but I think with Venus, it is more about appreciation and love and enjoyment and pleasure. It is about, okay, let's really tune in with the body here. How does my body feel when it comes to certain philosophies, when it comes to certain worldviews? A good way for you to really get in touch with your body in this regard for you, Capricorn. Now, as Venus does enter Libra on the 29th of August for the rest of Virgo season, of course, there will be activations with Pluto, Lilith, and Juno. There could be much to be said about collaborations, group involvements, their teamwork. It could be a big part of this. Negotiations could be a big part of this. Maybe you feel somewhat like you can work together with somebody else. There is a partnership that's blossoming slightly, but this partnership is more work related, I think. Okay, it's more career related. There could also be a lot to do with your career path coming up, and that's important to you, I feel, Capricorn. So maybe things could turn out in a quite a pleasing way, or this is just an attractive time, right? Quite attractive indeed for you, Capricorn. So drawing clients and customers to you, and people wanting to work with you. People wanting to collaborate with you, really. Now, at the same time, I'll also say that perhaps there is some honesty required in your part. Honesty about really success and where you see yourself there on a successful level. Addressing the unconscious, addressing your shadow. How can you liberate yourself from a particular career scenario or professional scenario that just isn't really doing it for you? And maybe a part of that links back to Pluto retrograde in the first house. This is something I mentioned earlier. I was going to include it as part of the aspects for all of the signs, but honestly, we would be here forever. Something I'm going to bring it up for you, Capricorn, because it's your sign. So Venus in Libra will be challenged by Pluto retrograde in Capricorn for one last time, for one final hit for another couple of centuries. So that's going to happen more toward the end of Virgo season. So this will happen between your first and your 10th house. So this, I feel, says it is okay to adjust. Let's just say that. Maybe a part of this is about having a greater work-life balance, Capricorn, and you know this. Maybe when you're listening to this, you're like, yes, Hannah, I've been feeling this for a long time. I'm this sign and I'm expected just to, people say I need to work hard and keep pushing and persisting. But really, you know what? I just want a great work-life balance. Yeah, okay, I hear you. I hear you with Libra in the 10th house. You want that work-life balance. And so maybe there are some priorities that need to be shifted around so that can happen for you throughout Virgo season, Capricorn. Okay, so one more thing before the last thing. Uranus retrograde. So Uranus is going to retrograde from the 1st of September until the 30th of January in your 5th house. Right. So taking a closer look then at things like your free time, taking a closer look at forms of enjoyment, your creativity, your passions, your interests, what excites you, your heart's desire is so much about the 5th house there, Capricorn. Maybe a part of it as well is spending time with your children. Maybe a part of it as well is realigning your values when it comes to having children. So yes, there's more to the Uranus story there for you. Lastly, Mars is on the move. So for the first 2 weeks of Virgo season, Mars will be in your 6th house still. So you're still making those moves when it comes to work, your services, your health, your diet, your nutrition. Could not get the words out there. Yes, we think about just health on a more holistic level. But then again, this could be more about your mental health. This could be more about your nervous system, any feelings of restlessness, nervousness. Where are you overdoing it there? Yes, Mars can be a big determined part of the chart where you're making certain changes and moves. Maybe changing your scenery when it comes to your working environment there, Capricorn. Then, as Mars enters Cancer from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, okay, sure, we're going to say this. Watch out for reacting. Watch out for reacting when it comes to relationships and partnerships. Try and just take a step back. And I know that usually you're not these types of people, okay? Usually you're quite contained. Usually you're quite controlled and cautious. But I feel like Mars and Cancer may be testing you. That period, testing you, right? Testing your patience a little bit. But hey, it's nothing you can't handle, Capricorn. Let me just say that. If it is that there is some sort of new exciting experience to do with business deals, business associates, business partnerships, if there is, and you're all in and you're like, right, okay, I'm raring to go, it could be that the other person or people activates something within you, and maybe it reminds you of your childhood or reminds you of a other relationship from the past. So just if you can, take a bait, try and not react. And maybe there is something you can learn actually from the other, right? You can learn even via other people, even how to connect with your own emotions a little bit. Maybe it could even be useful to get your emotions out in some way, shape, or form there. If it is that such things are triggered, if you will, whilst Mars is in your 7th. But hey, I'll also say you can, with this energy, you can be quite determined and ambitious when it comes to business partnerships in general, when it comes to clients and customers there too. There is more to this story as Mars retrograde happens at the end of the year. Right, Aquarius. Hello to Angel. Thank you for being here. Awesome. Yeah, you say you appreciate the new content. Yay, that's great. Thank you for watching all these years. Amazing. Thanks for all of your support. And Awaken in the Dream School. Amazing. Thank you very, very much for your feedback. That's really lovely of you to say. Okay, so we have 2 signs left. Oh, Capricorn, I spent quite a bit of time on your one. I feel like I just had to say that stuff. Okay, Aquarius. Okay. Aquarius. Right. Let's talk about it, Aquarius. Honestly, Virgo season for you, right? First up, I want to say there will be a new moon in your 8th and there will be a lunar eclipse in your 2nd. So, throughout Virgo season, you will set new intentions to do with shared resources. But I mean being practical, being sensible, being reasonable about these matters. Also, planting new seeds to do with the practical steps you take on an intimate level. Yes, I think it's more about actually doing the work. It's more about making small adjustments, adding small improvements to your intimate world. And maybe as well, there's a part of this where you're still doing a lot of the psychological stuff, right? There's still a lot of looking at old relationships, exploring why you do the things you do, and wanting to make significant changes there, Aquarius. Now, with the lunar eclipse happening in your 2nd house, we're going to notice then, well, significant closing of chapters to do with your resources and your finances. I feel like for you, Aquarius, your intuition is not going to let you go. It's not going to stop until you make those necessary changes to do with your financial landscape. Maybe you sort of subconsciously know a part with, Saturn being there in the second. You're thinking to yourself there on a subconscious level, oh, how am I going to overcome this? And a part of this as well is what's driving you to make those changes. So, yes, perhaps it is important for you to listen to your intuitive cues. And I'll even say this, how you really feel. Like, how do you feel about particular financial situations? Even morally, how do things sit with you? Oh, that's a big thing. Spiritual qualities come into this, but also your morality. Your morals are not going to they're not going to give up here until you make necessary changes to your physical security and how you earn money, how you save money, how you spend it, Aquarius. Interesting. Now, with the sun shining its light on your 8th house throughout Virgo season, kind of what I was saying earlier, it is a really good opportunity for you to focus on your health and more so your psychological health, doing that inner work, making sense of unresolved traumas, stuff to do with the past, and maybe too, there is a lot of growth on your part, transformation on your part, and just evolving past old narratives that just do not serve you anymore. So, Virgo season can be quite healing and quite profound for you within this regard, I think. Let's now think about Mercury. So, Mercury is still retrograde in your 7th house for the first week of Virgo season. So you're still taking a closer look at collaborations, even I would say your shadow, addressing your shadow, addressing companionships, just relationships in general there, and how they light you up, the joy that you feel, the happiness that you feel. Maybe that's a big driving factor, especially recently for you, Aquarius. It is about, okay, how do I really feel whenever I'm around such and such? And is there that excitement? Can I be myself? Can I really be authentic with this person? Or, of course, this could be more about a long-term committed thing that comes up. And then as Mercury does turn direct on the 28th of August, you may move forward with greater clarity, but still it's about mulling things over. And then by the 9th, the 11th of September, around that time period, you can really start to move forward. And then it's also, I feel, a good opportunity for you to maybe address the parts of you that can compartmentalize, right? Because you can kind of be like this, Aquarius. You can sort of rationalize your emotions a bit. You can go into your head and then sort of put put a certain emotion on a shelf, and it's like, okay, well, this goes over here and that's where it belongs, and when I need to bring it out, I'll just bring it out for this time. And I get it, to compartmentalize a bit can help us cope, can help us process a bit more there in a way that's more comfortable. But too much of that, I think, can lead to, well, serious impacts on the body, I would even say, possibly. So if you ever sense, that, things you are repressing, maybe if you are denying too much, maybe ask yourself why, right? Why am I pushing this emotion away? Why am I rationalizing it? Why am I justifying this situation in my head so much? And how, well, intellectualizing, really. So how can you maybe come to a place of just feel it? I know, I'm just going to speak from quick experience here because my son is an Aquarius. For me recently, I've been doing a lot of breath work. So I'll say this, I can be being quite vulnerable. Hey, maybe this is part of the Aquarius stuff with vulnerability, the 8th house. But anyway, I can be quite an anxious person, right? So I can really be in my head, just anxious, worrying freaking out about how am I coming across, if I've upset somebody else, oh, how am I going to be judged, this type of stuff. But breath work has been helping me so much. So what that has essentially helped me with is getting myself out of my head and into my body and just focusing on my breath. And then those thoughts, which they're not based on reality, those thoughts are not real, right? I don't know what other people are thinking in that way. I don't have any control over that or any power over that. I know that logically. But still, the breath work has really helped me just go, do you know what? It's actually okay to still move throughout my day, to interact with life, whilst I know that the anxiety is there. It's to hold space for those feelings anyway and to still continue on, right? Because when I think of it this way, if I was to not take certain opportunities in life because I was anxious, then I would just be losing, right? I would just be doing myself a disservice. I don't want to let anxiety and overthinking and worry and stress rule my decisions and my life. So, Aquarius, take whatever you want from that. If you find that helpful, great. If you didn't, that's also okay too. But I can't help but think that Virgo season kind of highlights these things when we see Virgo in the 8th house. Maybe a part of it is trust. A part of it comes down to trust and communicating from a place of trust and vulnerability with Mercury in the 8th. Let's now think about Venus. Venus is still in your 8th for the first week of Virgo season. So, this is a good opportunity for pleasure and desire, small adjustments that can be made when it comes to intimacy and closeness. How can you get closer to others? And even if it's not about others, how can you welcome that greater connection with yourself, with your own body? Maybe there's something about honoring your body and what it's trying to communicate with you, what is the body trying to say? Um, and I feel like that's another thing that's really come up for me recently, that the body really does hold a lot of the score. I think that's a book, actually. Yeah, it has so much wisdom to offer us if we just listen. So maybe this is a part of your own psychological journey. Aquarius. Now, as Venus enters your 9th house from the 29th of August for the rest of Virgo season with activations to Pluto, Lilith, and Juno, well, I'm going to suggest this. There could be something quite pleasing and rewarding and social about your higher education, about maybe furthering your understanding, and how such things are linked to that of partnership and your relationships and collaboration, all the cooperative stuff to do with Libra, and charm and grace and beauty and fashion and art and teamwork. There's a lot to do with exchange and sharing and just joining together, showing good tact, weighing out your pros and your cons could be a big part of this, using your great observational skills. So really applying these types of things to that of your higher education or training, taking on a new sort of program or a class, or, maybe this is about your beliefs, your own sort of worldviews and what you believe to be true about yourself and about other people. Yes, and perhaps even a big part of this is diving into your own fears and any unconscious habits that can limit you, of course. Now, of course, with that being said, the unconscious doesn't mean that the unconscious is bad. I'm not trying to in any way, shape, or form say that the unconscious is a bad thing. I'm just saying that with Pluto involved and Lilith involved, maybe there is something quite liberating and freeing about allowing the unconscious to come through so that things can be more holistic for you. Okay, Uranus retrograde then. So Uranus is going to retrograde from the 1st of September to the 30th of January. So that's going to be in your 4th house. Aquarius, you're going to be taking a closer look then at that of family, home, the relationship that you have with family members, the quality of them, how determined you can be within them, or how you might show up as a stable, steady person within them, or considering which family members are not so stable or not so steady. So it's maybe even addressing some of that chaos, some of that unpredictability. Yeah, and that honestly can be quite a challenging thing, I think, with Uranus in the fourth. But maybe a part of it is about distancing yourself, separating yourself, welcoming and embracing your own individuality and your uniqueness. Okay, so now Pluto. So Pluto is going to re-enter. It's going to re-enter your 12th house, actually, Aquarius, from the 1st of September until the 11th of October. So this is another opportunity, this one final opportunity for you to get in the most unconscious part of yourself and to really consider, right, okay, where am I blocked? Where am I limited? What am I not seeing? Looking at the shadow there. And that is going to really help you create greater freedom within your life. I kind of think about how, is it Carl Jung said to make the shadow conscious? When you do that, you do become a much more complete individual. And so, yes, perhaps there are these themes that are going to come up for you. Maybe certain things were overlooked before. You didn't see things in a particular way the last time. And now, as you start to go into the depths once again, you can gain greater clarity, greater spiritual wisdom can come through. And maybe this is also about tapping into your imagination and your dreams, and how, even sorrow and even suffering and disparity can be carried forward. And maybe, how do I say this? You could even look at it through quite a beautiful lens. You could articulate it, those feelings. You could articulate those feelings in a really beautiful, like realistic way, where you can then essentially perhaps guide others or help others with their own pain and their own suffering. To use your adversity, to use your hardships as strength, I guess you could say, Aquarius. Right. So, lastly, Mars. Mars is still hanging out in your fifth house for the first 2 weeks of Virgo season. So, hey, I think for many Aquarians, you've been taking the time to focus on your free time, to focus on your forms of enjoyment, pleasure, and fun, things like this. I know for myself, I have, with my son being an Aquarius. Yes, maybe a change of scenery has been great for you creatively. It's been great for you when it comes to your hobbies there. Maybe you're wanting to switch up your hobbies a little bit. I know for myself, I've joined yoga, I've joined Pilates. It's been great fun. Really enjoying it. I'm also thinking about taking up crocheting. I don't know yet. It's just an idea. Hey, very Gemini, it's just an idea. But then when Mars enters Cancer, from the 4th of September for the rest of Virgo season, well, this is where we're going to see you being quite active, action orientated when it comes to your services, when it comes to your health, your everyday lives, your routines, your schedules, showing great determination and ambition there. Yeah, showing up as a leader. But at the same time, do consider with Cancer, a lot of it is about riding those emotional waves. Now, there will be more to this story as Mars retrograde happens at the end of the year. Yes, David, always saving the best too for last. Yo. Um, oh, amazing. Ruby, thank you so much. Great. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, so Pisces. Lastly, we've got Pisces. We can do this, everyone. All right, Pisces. So, Virgo season for Pisces. Well, you're up, Pisces. Your eclipse season is starting, right? And eclipse season is starting again, and we're opening it up with a new set of eclipses in your sign. Your sign. Now, before we get to that, there will be a new moon in your opposite sign in Virgo. So that new moon opposite you is going to say, all right, setting new intentions, planting new seeds to do with things like clients and customers, employees, employers, service. There could be a lot of stuff coming up to do with work. I'm going to be quite honest. Pisces, Virgo season could be quite a work focused month for you. It could be quite boring. I'm just going to say the mundane, the practical, all these things. And I know Pisces, you tend to not really enjoy, working with super strict limitations and things like this, strict structures. Time, it's like, what is time to a Pisces, right? I'll get there when I get there. I get it. But I'll say this, Saturn in your first house for the past year has been very supportive for you. I think Saturn is actually teaching you a lot about time. The time can be a really valuable spiritual teacher. And of course, Pisces, it's you. You tend to add a spiritual sort of spin to whatever you do. And that may not be super intentional. I think often it's just that you automatically can be like that. And then a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Pisces is so wise. And yes, I have seen this happen in real life. I have seen it where when a Pisces is part of the equation, they're told how wise they can be. I've seen that happen. So, yes, I think for you, Pisces, Virgo season is going to invite more of these themes to do with your everyday tasks, your schedules, your routines, your health. But these matters are going to be reflected back to you via others, okay? Via your partner, via your significant other, via a friend. So, yes, a business, of course, with partner, that could also be like a business deal there. Indeed. So, yes, setting new intentions when it comes to these things. And then with the lunar eclipse happening, well, I think, what's coming through here is Pisces, you're clearing space. You're going to be clearing energetic space. Maybe that's a big thing. It may not necessarily be like a physical thing. This is more of an energetic thing. This is more of an emotional, spiritual thing for you. It's to clear space and to think about, okay, what is not serving my highest good? What is not serving me in terms of my spiritual values and my beliefs there? Your morals could be a big part of this, right? So your morals may be really, really like gnawing at you to take a closer look. So with the lunar eclipse, because it's an eclipse, significant new chapters here. Doors, major doors could be closing, right? Major life path doors, aims, ambition doors, that's it. Like maybe there's just something where you think, right, okay, that's final. I'm done. I make peace with that. I wish them well. I'm moving on, right? That could be, honestly, it could be that sort of big for you. But I do want to mention that this, okay, sure, this may not necessarily happen throughout Virgo season, but this could be something that unfolds throughout the next 6 months or so, okay? Okay, so I'm going to say that. Right. Like I said, then with Virgo, so the sun being in Virgo, the sun is shining its light on all of the seventh stuff. A good time to maybe even consider shadow work. Okay. Maybe even welcoming in some analytical skills, critical thinking skills, discernment could be a big part of this. Okay. How can you embrace these sort of qualities a little bit? And maybe even taking a closer look at your own fault finding tendencies, your own meticulous sort of tendencies, where you can at times perhaps unconsciously read so much into things. I think Pisces can be a major worrier. I think Pisces can really overthink a lot of stuff and stress out about a lot of stuff. Maybe maybe when it comes to the everyday stuff, you can sort of, what is that term? You can make a mountain out of a molehill. Is that the term? I hope that's the term. But basically, what it means is like you can look at the dishes and think, oh, it's too much, and but it's like it's just the dishes. Like it's okay. You know what I mean? Anyway, yes, Virgo season can invite some of this for you, okay? Um, to welcome some of that kind of that balance. But hey, you do also have a very practical, earthy, realistic side. So yes, Virgo season can highlight just honoring those qualities too a little bit. Okay, let's now think about Mercury. So Mercury retrograde is still hanging out in your sixth house for the first week of Virgo season. So a lot of Mercury retrograde there in the sixth, well, it actually aligns a little bit with what I just said. Maybe this is about taking a closer look at how you can experience some kind of joy and fun from the mundane, from the everyday stuff. You could maybe listen to some music, you could dance around the kitchen, dance when you're hoovering. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking of Miss Doubtfire. I say that, Mrs. Doubtfire. But yeah, you can welcome some kind of groove or joy into the mundane, into the practical there, your everyday routines. Maybe this is also about some kind of recognition or praise from your employers or your employees, or you sort of showing that recognition toward them. Okay. Now, from the 28th of August, you will move forward with these sort of thoughts and these realizations, but you'll still mull things over. And then by around about the 9th, 11th of September, well, with Mercury then being in the seventh house, this can usher in some necessary discussions about your relationships and your partnerships and significant, improvements that you want to make there. Little tweaks that can be made so that things function well, so that things operate well, and that can be quite helpful. I think quite a helpful thing. Let's now talk about Venus, because I think actually with Venus still being in your seventh house for the first week of Virgo season, this does welcome some, healthy emotional or healthy relationship experiences there, where things feel quite pleasing and beautiful and you can connect. Maybe it is about actually taking that time to connect with your significant other, right? It's more about scheduling it in. And I get maybe even with this, you realize too that life is just so busy, right? With all that Virgo, you're reminded just how life, especially my goodness, being an adult, life just gets so busy and it's hard to make time for others, to make time for a friend or a catch up or a date, for example. But yes, maybe Virgo there with Venus is kind of highlighting some pleasing experiences. Naturally, with that, I get that Virgo can be quite fault finding and nitpicky too. So there is that. But then you see, Venus is going to enter your eighth house from the 29th of August for the rest of Virgo season. And then there will be these aspects to Pluto and Lilith and Juno. So hey, this could be quite an intimate time. My goodness, with Venus in the eighth, intimacy is perhaps going to be really on your mind. You're weighing out your options there when it comes to intimacy in terms of, okay, what about the give and take? What can we do differently? What's not being done before? Choice could be a big factor here as well. Communication could be a big factor here. Trust and emotional bonding could also come into the equation. And how you share, really, this is about exchange. This is about sharing of yourself, giving a little, taking a little. It's this union. I feel that there are big things to do with union and partnership for you Pisces, especially with all the seventh house stuff and then coming into the eighth house there. And maybe too with Lilith and Pluto involved, do maybe be cautious of potential power plays or power struggles. Maybe it is about also looking within the self to kind of make sense of anything that's limiting you or blocking you or holding you back from connecting, or maybe it is about opening up gradually about things that are really on your mind there, or maybe it's even about experiencing greater freedom and liberation, especially if there is a particular relationship in your life and you can kind of instinctively feel that things are not really going anywhere, right? There could be some letting go, some clearing out. It goes back to the lunar eclipse stuff I was talking about. A lot of clearing out for Pisces this season. Right. From the 1st of September until the 30th of January, Uranus is going to station retrograde. So the retrograde is going to happen in your 3rd house. So time to review sibling matters and interactions, time to take a closer look at where you live and your local area, your neighborhood, your town, your city, what have you. Maybe it's about, okay, do I feel the most stable and secure here? Or maybe there have been many unpredictable things happening and you're still you're still in it, and it's just a good opportunity for you to make sense of what works there and how things feel even within your body when it comes to these areas too. And possibly as well, education is a big part of this, research, right? So wanting to maybe even revisit an old topic or subject that could actually help you upskill in some way, shape, or form, can help you improve in some way intellectually. Now, Pluto, let's think about Pluto. Okay, so Pluto retrograde is going to enter Capricorn from the 1st of September until the 11th of October. Right, you have one more shot at really addressing the collective stuff. Movements, causes, charities, changes you wish to see in the world, the differences you want to make within society. These things are coming up here. Even thinking about long-term committed friendships and the quality of your friendships. Really another shot to see, right, okay, is this a club or is this group that I'm a part of? Is it for the long haul? And maybe too, there's some a maturing process here. You've really matured when it comes to your friendships there and your teams, and even thinking about organizations that you're a part of. Perhaps Pluto is going to welcome some kind of new transformation or another transformation, or maybe it's just about things that you didn't quite see before. You might notice them this time around. Things that were overlooked before in terms of organizations, firms, groups there, teams as well. Things you overlooked, you can maybe see them a lot more clearly. And maybe it's even about revisiting the boundaries and the structures there that exist when it comes to these areas too. The foundations, right? How are things built there on a very strong way? Okay, lastly, Mars. So Mars is still hanging out in your 4th house for the first 2 weeks of Virgo season. So Mars in Gemini in your 4th house says that you've been making things happen within the home. You've been coming up with new ideas. You've been quite creative. You've just been on the move there, I think, with family, get-togethers, meetups, things like that. Yeah, it could be quite a chatty social time, actually, with family, perhaps with Mars in your 4th. But then you see, as Mars enters your 5th from the 4th of September, there's going to be more energy and activity going into that of your creativity, your artwork, right, your hobbies. And, I also even think that when it comes to your free time, when it comes to your hobbies, they tend to take on a family sort of focus quality, right? Whether this be you wanting to spend time with your family on the weekends, or whether this be playing some sort of hobby, enjoying a hobby with family members that you're quite close to there. So there's that. But yes, I just think that there's going to be greater determination and willpower that will be really placed and focused into that of your creativity and your hobbies and play, fun, these areas. Naturally, with that being said, with Cancer can also go by its sort of moods. So things could fluctuate indeed for you there, Pisces. Do also remember, though, that there is more to this story because Mars retrograde will happen towards the end of the year. Okay, everybody. This has been Virgo season. We've been here for 3 hours, folks. 3 hours. Anyway, I just want to say again, thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon for all of your support. If you would like to join, you can do so below. And with that, thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. And if you did really enjoy today's presentation, you can always buy me a coffee, but there is never any pressure to do anything. I just appreciate the fact that you're here and that you're interacting with me. Thank you so much for all of your support, folks. Yes, David, what is structure? Said the Pisces. Dr. Linda, you've got Pisces rising. Okay, interesting. Well, I hope, Dr. Linda, that you find your horoscope to be helpful there. Oh, amazing. Oh, thank you. With the dishes. Oh, jeez. Thank you so much for your feedback, David. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Ruby, awesome. Cheers. Okay, amazing. Well, everybody, happy Sunday. Hey, happy Sunday. And I hope you all have a great week ahead and happy Virgo season again. Happy birthday to all of you solar Virgos out there. May you all